1,000 years had passed since the unification of the plains. 1,000 years was more than enough time for an emperor with iron grip and superhuman martial arts. The great empire began to rot and decay. There were enough heroes who rose up for peace, and martial artists, and warriors who could no longer tolerate the injustice that was happening. However, instead of destroying tyranny, they became power-hungry imperial dogs. And the peasants have spent enough time in agony that all remaining hope has been dashed into the abyss of despair. When people realized that in such a hellish reality they would have to exist for the rest of their lives, suddenly a new continent was discovered. This continent could be reached by crossing the endless ocean by ship. Boundless forests and fields, high mountains and deep valleys, harsh deserts and calm rivers, this land was truly vast. This place was a continent of opportunity. Countless oppressed peasants, martial arts masters in hiding, the offspring of kings who disappeared long ago, as well as vile criminals and madmen practicing forbidden demonic martial arts. Everyone who could, crossed the ocean with their own goals, creeds and principles. Selfishness, greed, dreams of greatness, all came together in a single battle. Everyone used all kinds of martial arts. The spark of this chaos will ignite the fire of life in a new realm of martial arts. Without the oppression of the empire, without battles for their own faith, it is this spark that will ignite the hearts of masters. The remains of a new kingdom, sacrificed after thousands of years of existence, will not just disappear. By the power of the emperor and his army, a guy found this great book and read it and said it was so long ago that many people don't even remember it. When he threw the book away, he said that the author was very stupid. After all, the dream of life is to lie on a cozy bed, eating something delicious and reading a story about martial arts. The Liu Bang dynasty should have lasted 5 centuries, no more. The only reason it lasted over 1,000 years. That was the reason for the rise of the bloody battle kingdom, so why romanticize it? So he headed for the empty land, everything around him was ruined, and there were deaths at every corner. The boy thought that given the number of wagon tracks filled with merchandise, but not a single dead horse, we could assume that bandits had been here. They must have taken everything, and there was nothing of value left. But suddenly he saw a box, and when he opened it he realized that there was a baby. Taking the child's clothes, he said that the bandits would either sell him or raise him as a bad person. This is the usual course of business in this world. But suddenly, out of the vast desert, a horse that had survived came to him. He climbed on it and headed off into the sunset. In a small town from the desert was a village where people rested, and there was a pub where all the people of the world gathered. A man told an acquaintance that in that desert, the land was robbed. There were only 5 guards, and they had no chance. They say that only one came back alive. What really happened, no one knows. And those who deserve to die the most are now filling their bellies in the pub and enjoying life. But they are all thieves. The man at the table told him to watch his mouth, because those thieves could hear him. The man said he avoids them not because he's afraid, but because he's disgusted by their presence. An acquaintance told him that he advises him to look around on the way home. So the guy got to this little town and went straight into a pub, where people were staring at him. The guy asked if there was a seat for him. The waiter greeted him and told him to sit wherever he felt comfortable. The waiter brought him a drink and told him not to pay attention to other people's stares, it's normal here. After all, only regular guys come here, and lately there's been some kind of unfriendly atmosphere. But anyway, he's very happy to have new customers. Is the guy ready to order? He asked. The guy told him to bring something that would take less than 5 minutes to cook. The waiter said that apparently the guy is very hungry, let him wait a bit. Now he will bring him noodles. The guy asked him if anyone had come in here before him, but suddenly one of the visitors started shouting that someone had decided to play cheat with him. The man asked his acquaintance if he thought he was an idiot. The acquaintance said he wouldn't cheat in a game. The man was indignant again and said, why does he win all the time? The friend said that other guys also won. Maybe it's because of his stupidity. The guy looked at these men for a long time and smiled while drinking his tea. Suddenly he stood up and told the waiter that this man was here. A man asked an acquaintance how dare he cheat with him in the same game. The acquaintance said he had proof about it, or not. An acquaintance said the player's words were against him. Did he find proof yet? The man couldn't stand it and grabbed him by the throat. The friend stepped back and asked him if he really wanted to fight. The man said he doesn't play games like that, and he won't just leave it like that. They were getting ready to fight when the guy grabbed one of them by the shoulder. The guy said he had nothing better to do. The guy looked into his eyes and said he'd already found something to do. The guy got scared and said they'd continue their conversation later. Apparently, the guy told the other guy that he can leave. It's none of his business. The guy told Jang-gun that his brother is simple. He can't believe Jang-gun is here. Jang-gun said it's been 2 months. How's he doing? The guy asked. The man said the guy knows him, he's always fine. He asked how his own brother is doing. The guy grabbed his hand and said they'd lost contact. He asked what about his gang? Are they doing fine, too? The man got scared and said that Jang Gong must have made new friends too, right? Jang Gong said yes, but he was the last one. The man said he warned him, does he remember? How can he go after a man who only has Kulpe for protection? Chang Gong looked at him and said yes, fair enough. The man realized he was doing badly and started to run away. Chang Gun grabbed him by the hair and pulled him back, smearing his face on the table. The man said he told him not to do that before, and it was Chan who stayed behind after the robbery. They weren't going to catch him, even if the guy got in the way. Chang Gong said it's just like that Chinese game, isn't it? He told him to answer where his money is. The man said that he gave money for silence. Jang Gong interrogated him and said that he paid with that money. The man said there was nothing else to do. He was also the victim in that situation. The guy said the man's trying to say there's nothing left. The man said in a shaky voice that's not exactly true. But he's still in the process. The man stopped the guy and said there's some kind of misunderstanding. There's his money in there too. Jang-gun said he didn't care, he'd give it back to him later. The guy got mad and told the guy what he was saying. Chang Gong grabbed his arm and sealed him to the floor. But then his friends decided to attack, but they got punched in the face. Grabbing both of them by the collars, they begged him to spare them, because they had nothing to do with it. But Jang Gong took them and hit them both. They both fell to the floor and lay unconscious. The man asked Chan's brother what had gotten into him. Jang-gun asked what's wrong with him. Would the man tell him and open his eyes? The man was scared and said he had nothing, but suddenly one of the ghouls stood up and told the guy that he had broken his nose and now his death had come. Jang-gun said he didn't mean it. He doesn't have a dime because of that man. But suddenly the man turned around and started running away. Chan thought, why did that man suddenly start running away? The man said his name was Jin Yangxiak for starters. Chang Gong told him to forget about that man. What will he do next? The man asked him what he meant. Did Chang Gong tell him how he was going to pay him back? Does he know what will happen to his dantian if he fails him? The man started laughing and asked what good he'd do for Chan's brother. But suddenly he told Chan he could let him go. He has to give him something. The man took the ring out of his pocket and said it was jade. He got it back in Sinchishan. It's a real jade, so if he finds the right place, he'll get enough money. The man asked him if this was a good deal for the guy. Chang Gong patted him on the shoulder and said it was enough for the first time. Jang Gong let this guy go because he didn't have anything to give him. Then he remembered and asked and his noodles would be ready. Jang Gong's food is here. The man told him he picked the wrong time and he'd better hurry up. He'd run away if he were him. And he shouldn't have broken that man's nose. He's only saying that because Chan is his brother. The man said no one here dares touch Jin Jansoku. His brother is one of the most famous martial artists in this land. Chang Gong said he's good at martial arts too. The man said, who doesn't know about Chang Gong's powerful punches, everyone is afraid of him. Chang Gong said, then what's the problem, he can't understand. The man said Chan has no idea how dangerous he is. Besides, Hogu is in a gang. Chan asked if it's a Murim gang and who's the organizer. The man said that now Chag is interested. And now he's willing to provide information for 1 silver piece. Chan showed his fist and asked him if it was for money. The man was frightened when he saw this and said he was joking. The man said it would be entertaining. If we start at the beginning, of course he doesn't know who organized it. He's heard that the master is connected to the Murim company, so it's best to stay away from them. And don't mess with Hogu's brother. Jang said the man is so scared of him. The man said he doesn't know how things work here, so Jang-gun needs to be a good boy. Chan asked him if he knew the rules. The man said that people here are quite talkative. They think he should be trusted after one bottle. Chan told him to go find out more. The man said it's not as easy as it looks. And they're not in the best place for a brotherly reunion. We gotta get out of here, he can smell strangers from afar. The man said it's best to avoid those shamans. Is he scared? Asked Chan. No, he just doesn't want to get dirty, said the man. But then a waiter came to their table and told Chan that he didn't want any trouble. And he was willing to refund his money for the noodles, but he had to leave the place. The man laughed and said, the sooner they leave, the sooner they'll be safe, right, brother? Chan was in no hurry, and finished his noodles, saying that in his opinion they were safe. The man said what's the matter with him? What can he do against a whole gang? And this is no time for pride. Then let him stay here if he wants to die so badly. Chan said he should have done it a long time ago. But it's too late now. Yes, it's too late. So the guy's brother came in and asked him if it was them. The man said, yes, they tricked him out of his money and broke his nose. Hogue asked him if it was really his money. The man said it was stolen money. But there was some of his money too. Hogue said his brother was pathetic. And it's good that there are few people. It's not nice to come to someone else's village like that. The waiter came up to him and said in a shaky voice that they had tables available. Hogue looked at him with an angry look, and the waiter turned and walked away. The man told Chan it wasn't too late to run away, but Chan stood his ground and told him to sit back down. The man said, what's Chan talking about, he's sitting still. Then more guys ran up and surrounded their table. This man came up and said he was glad to meet you. And his name is Hogue. And he's the one who keeps order in these lands. Hogue said that unfortunately he didn't come here for a drink. He was told that there was something he needed to deal with. The man sitting at the table told Hogue that it was just a slight misunderstanding. His name is Yang Gong, and now they will know each other. Yang said that he had come to this village a long time ago, but he had never heard Hogue being talked about in a bad way. What does he mean by dealing with something? Yang asked. Isn't it a gift of fate that they met today? Yang said that his brother Chang Gong was sitting across from him, he hadn't come here for a long time. Hogue pointed his finger at Jan and said he was a crook. And the man sitting across from him is a criminal. Suddenly appearing in the city, stealing from a man, when his brother protested with his fist, this is not the behavior of a civilian. And now he can't let it go. He's arresting them both, and they're going with him. If they resist, they'll make it worse for themselves. Jang Gong told him he wouldn't kill him. Hogue said he's a master and doesn't kill in broad daylight. But for what he did to Jin's face, he can't even think about forgiving him. He'll leave him with one arm and one leg each. And if he's not satisfied, he'll cut off Chan's dignity too. Chong said to him, didn't he hear that the emperor himself was coming to this village? And he doesn't care at all. Hogue was surprised to hear such a thing and asked, is he the emperor? How could he not recognize him? He almost made a big mistake. Zhong said no, and he didn't say he was the emperor. Hogue said he was finished. Then suddenly, Zhong jumped up and slapped Hogue in the face. Hogue fell to the floor and couldn't move, and his nosebleed kept splashing around his face. Everyone was surprised and froze in place. One of the bandits told his men to attack. Jung saw them and just defended himself, saying that they were making a lot of unnecessary movements. Chan didn't feel sorry for them, he was throwing them around. They didn't realize who they were attacking. The battle between them was not for life but for death. But suddenly a man came into the pub and told them to stop. And tell them to stop this senseless fight. The man looked at Chung and said he didn't look surprised. He probably knows who's standing in front of him. Chan turned his head and said he must be the head of the Murima gang. The man laughed and said it was. The man said he had been informed of an attack on people in his town. Jong wasn't afraid of anything and asked him for a report. But Hogu's brother intervened and said that Jong had attacked them. And his brother was unconscious. That bastard knocked out all his teeth. The man asked him if it was true. Chan looked at him and said it was just self-defense. The guy told him which gang he was from. Jong looked at him and said that means 9 against 1 is already fair. 8 of them even had clubs. The man laughed and said there was nothing wrong with Chanav in this fight. Chan said they fought with dignity. Someone died, as he sees it, no one. Junior said to the master, why hasn't he arrested him yet? His brother almost died because of him. The man told his men to grab them. Junior started laughing and said that Jong had messed with the wrong guy. He wanted to see how Jong would do against the Murim gang, but then the man's men grabbed Hogu's younger brother. He was very surprised at this moment and did not understand what was happening. He asked the master what it meant. The master said that 9 fighters couldn't defeat 1 enemy. Why would he need such a rabble in his gang? The master said that of all of them, only Jin and Moon are martial artists. But that's not good enough for him. Now they'd better stay out of his way. Junior asked if they would wait for his brother until he woke up. The master turned his back and said no. The master said that when his brother woke up, there would be nothing but the bars of the cage waiting for him. Chong smirked and said that a good job had been done. The master told Chan that considering he wasn't a master, he was a good fighter. He seemed to have defeated them quite easily. Where did he learn this? Chan took out a bag of money and apologized to the waiter and put it on the table for the mess. The boy got on his horse and headed toward the desert. Jan caught up with him and told him to wait. Yang asks why he has a face like he was kicked out of there. He knows Jong solved the problem. What does he think about their head? Jong said he doesn't understand why the Murim gang is catching criminals. Better get out of here while the hype is still going on. Yen smiled and said, a person who does his duty so well, causes so much gossip among the villagers, right? According to his source, there's a patrol running around these lands. They're probably getting closer, but Jong must think Jang's going to overpower them all again. Anyway, their gang leader is such an opportunist. None of the Murim gang he saw seemed worthy. Yang said they either lack muscles or they're opportunists like Murimen. Only those who know how the real work is done should join him. Yang asked Chan if he wanted to work with him. Chan asked him where he was going. Yang asked him the same thing in return. Jong said he's going the opposite way and they'd better never see each other again. And if he follows him, he'll break his legs. Yang was upset with him, and even let out a tear, because he didn't understand why Jong was doing this to him. He watched him walk off into the sunset. Yang said Jong is a bad brother. What kind of person is he? He doesn't think he has any place in this world, and now he has to find out. And if the sun goes down and a man is thrown out of the village, it's not good. When the dark night came, Chan found a shelter and started a fire, drinking warm tea. But suddenly he spit it out and said it wasn't good. The horse saw this and came up to him, and on his last breath he fell. Chan said he'd have to get rid of him. Staring into the void, he recalled the words of the gentleman who had asked him where he had learned martial arts. In the moment, he came to his youthful memories. Where he was standing on the street, waiting for public transportation. But suddenly he saw headlights and a girl walking in front of him. He didn't think twice and decided to save her. He pushed the girl away and pushed himself in front of the car. He thought back to those moments for a long time and decided he was crazy. He couldn't understand how he ended up in this strange world. The next morning, Chong was on the road, but he didn't realize it would be so hot. He wondered how long it would take to get to this village. But suddenly he noticed something and told the mare to slow down. Chan smelled blood and the wind was blowing from the west. It was a small place, but for the moment, it was covered in human deaths. The surviving man asked the killers not to hurt him. He said he would give them everything they had, but let them keep him alive. The bandit laughed and said he was too late. He should have done it when they gave them the chance. The bandit was bloodthirsty and finished the man off, saying he wouldn't give him a second chance. The bandit said they were done here, and ordered his men to collect anything that would bring them a pile of money. The bandit laughed with joy and said that these people had so many good products, and he wouldn't have to think about food and water for a long time. The bandit pointed his finger and told the boss that it seems that there is one more person left, so to speak, a witness to all this. The boss looked at him, and saw Chan, saying that there was indeed another rat left to gut. Chan asked him if it was about him. Today he'll pretend he didn't hear anything, so let the bandits go their own way. The bandits all gathered and began to buzz. Chan saw and realized that they didn't want to let him go. Chan turned his horse around and headed straight for the bandits' place. They said that Zhang was running at them, so he couldn't wait to die. Pulling out his weapon, the bandit boss said that he would make Chong beg for death and wouldn't even let him say a word. Chan drew his sword and cut off the head of one of the bandits. They didn't realize what they had stumbled upon. Time after time, Chan got deeper and deeper, leaving behind only severed heads. In these plans, he was ruthless and was for justice. When the bandits saw Chan and how he fights with a sword, they realized that he was a master and now their lives hang in the balance. The bandits turned around and galloped towards the boss, asking for his help. They said they couldn't kill him. The boss didn't like it, and with a swing of his sword, he killed one of his men. The partner was surprised and scared. He asked not to kill him, but the boss thought he should be killed too. The boss looked at Chan and said he didn't look like a Muraman fighter. So where's he from, if it's no secret? Zhang said he's just passing through. Boss said he's a passerby, so why don't he continue on his way? Chan told him, is he laughing? Is the bandit trying to tell him to just walk away after all that carnage? The bandit laughed and said there's nothing to be done. That's their job. Chan said their job is to kill and rob. Real professionals. The bandit asked him if something was wrong. It's been over 100 years since the new continent was discovered. Who was in power at that time? Were they worthy of it? People supported by the empire, the ancient saga of the old dynasty, whose association is only spending other people's money. What they've been doing for 100 years has finally hit the people of the new continent. Does Zhang think they've had enough? He doesn't think so. It's their job, just like his. Chan got down from his horse and thanked him for enlightening him. Now he knows that the outlaw is just a crazy murderer who is steeped in blood. Chan said he was sure there was a bounty on his head and he wanted it. The bandit laughed and said it was true. There was a bounty on his head. Bandit said that if anything else he's done these days is revealed, there's probably more reward, right? The bandit said he'd see what the passerby could do. Chan said if he wanted to, he'd show him. And so began the battle, in which only one was left. In their eyes shone only death. And died in this battle, a crazy bandit. The bandit's body had been cut in half, but his spirit wanted better. But suddenly, Chan heard someone asking for his help. Zhang helped the man and said his organs were fine, but he'd lost too much blood. He didn't have long to live. The man thanked Zhang for being honest with him. He's sorry they had to meet like this, but let Zhang do him a favor. Under that carriage is his son. He hid him there in the middle of the fight. He hopes that Zhang has already killed those bandits and he is no longer in danger. His son is 8 years old now, shy but smart, so he won't get in the way. Zhang asked him what about his mother. The man said she died in childbirth. Everyone in her family blames it on their boy. So he left his past life and came to the new world with his son to start over. But now he's dying. About 3 days to the east, there's a village called Chongsangek. A relative lives there. He's the only one who will take his son in. He has studied martial arts and has good skills, so he can be trusted. He wanted to ask him to carry his child. Zhang said he doesn't get along with kids. And using some kind of magic, he said the man would take him there himself. The man couldn't believe he could take him, as Chan touched his wound with 3 fingers, and everything began to heal. The man couldn't believe it and asked him if he stopped the bleeding with his bare hands. Chung said yes, he knows. But it won't last long. He needs to see a doctor as soon as possible. Chan asked him if they had any medicine or bandages. He wondered if the Murim gang used this technique. This technique is like an illusion. Only experienced masters can perform it by finding the source of blood. In addition, it takes quite some time to learn and master this skill. This technique is also called the blood card. Of course, the Murim gang knows about it. He remembered his teacher saying that he had one, but Chong had asked him to teach him this technique. To stop the bleeding, you need to put all your strength and energy into your fingers. Unfortunately, people in too dire a situation cannot be saved by this method. The man asked him how he could repay him. Chong said there's nothing to think about and gestured with his hands. The man understood and said that of course he'd give it all back. The man said his son needs him. Will Zhang help him get to the carriage? The man shouted to Huang and said it's over, his father's with him. Huang jumped up and hugged his father. The man told his son that he might die. Huang asked him what was wrong and how badly he was hurt. The man said that some bandit had hit him with a sword. Huang was surprised and asked if he could be saved, right? The man hugged his son and said he was fine, but suddenly he fell to his knees and Huang yelled for his father to get up. Zhang said that he just fainted because of weakness and shock. He realized that the old man had lost a lot of blood and was looking for a cure. Huang asked him who he was. Zhang said his name, but the boy said he had never heard of such a person. Zhang found something and threw it to Huang. Zhang said they had to get out of here and told him to put it on his father's wound and bandage him up. Zhang said he'll look for a horse for them. Let Huang take care of his father while he does that. Huang looked at the guy and wondered where they would go next. Zhang found a horse and asked him, he wants to get out of here too, doesn't he? Zhang found a piece of wood that said it was Captain Samho's gum Soon Dok. After reading it, he said that it wasn't the name he had imagined. Chan realized that if Captain Samho was here, so were they. He wondered if they would accept this plaque as evidence. The man came to his senses and got on his horse and said it was time to go. Chan turned around and asked him what was wrong. As Huang walked through the pile of deaths, he began to look at them all. And squeezed his father's hand, because he was scared, even if he didn't want to show it. It's up to the wind, the rain and the beasts to cover the traces of the men. Whether these warriors will become ghosts roaming the world, or fly to the peaceful skies, whether they can reincarnate or not. How did one man manage to do it? I wish he could forget all the sufferings and hardships of life. That brief thought was all the condolences he could pour out in this wilderness. In the evening, the guys sat down on the pass to rest. Chong noticed that the man's condition was worse than during the day. At this rate, he wouldn't even last 2 days. It's entirely possible, given what he's been through. His wound could open up at any time. If he doesn't hurry up and get proper treatment, it will end badly. Zhang asked him if there was any other village before Cheongsangak. The man said there was one. And they used to go there often. It's a small village on the shore of Namjaho Lake. Zhang said that even a small village should have a healer. How long does it take to get there? He asked. The man said he didn't know, if they hurry, they'll arrive at noon tomorrow. How many hours do they have? He asked. Chan said he'll get there by himself tonight at the latest. And he'll find the medicine and bring it to them himself. The man knew it was his fault and wanted to apologize. Zhang looked at his head and said he wasn't doing it for him. People arrived at the crime scene in the desert and the guy said the time of death was yesterday afternoon. If they died around the same time. Is that the group they were tracking? The guy asked. The man said he must have been killed because of another robbery attempt. They overestimated them. He didn't expect someone to destroy them first. He said someone else must be alive. They split the gang into 3 groups, then gather in one place to divide up the stolen goods. And now they have to be found. The guy said that their numbers were much reduced, which couldn't be good, although they thought it didn't make sense for the 2 of them to deal with all of them. The man thought about it and said we should pay their scouts. They gave us valuable information, has he heard? The guy said he didn't remember, and what was it? The guy said it was interesting. They said there was a lot of resistance, the carriage men were defeated. The guy asked who killed them all. The man said someone intervened later. He was different from the other people. And he was the only one who killed them all. Huang said that he thought she was dead at first. Huang asked if they had seen a horse sleeping with its tongue out. His grandfather was still riding that horse, his name was Gungan. Zhang realized that the boy was comfortable with him. Huang asked, his grandfather was also a master, right? I wish he could meet him. The man said it's been more than 5 years since his father died. Did Huang remember that? Huang said of course, because he was such a brave warrior. Zhang noticed that the old man already had a strange complexion. He's still holding on, but if he doesn't get treatment today, he's finished. But suddenly Chan saw a herd of horses and people behind him. He realized that they might have found them already. He had relaxed too soon, they had come sooner than expected. The old man said that the village is still a bit away. What will they do in such a situation? Zhang said that those hooligans were coming. The old man asked if they were with those thugs. Zhang said that judging from the shape of the spears, they seemed to be different from those thieves. Zhang told them to go to the village. He'll get rid of them and catch up with them on the way to the village. Huang started crying and asked him, alone. Isn't it dangerous against so many people? Chan said they're not in a state to worry about others. He'll take care of everything himself, so if they want to live, let them do as they're told. Chong said they want revenge, they'll chase him to the end. The old man told him he'd pay him if he took him there. So he mustn't die. Stop hesitating, it's time. The old man said they'd wait for him in the village. They'd find shelter and food, so let him come back soon. Zhang said that once he was in the village, he'd start looking for a cure. So father and son went into the desert. An eagle was flying over the sky and people were approaching it. When they arrived, they told Chan to stand still. They said they were following the trail of the beast that killed his brother. Unfortunately for him, it led them here. The leader of the Red Gang, Dakin, asked what they should do with him. Zhang took his head out of the bag and said they found him. His brother's name was Gum Sundiak, the guy asked. This guy's head rolled to their feet. They were all surprised by this, and thought this guy was very dangerous. Dahan said they should bring him to him alive. Let them catch up with his buddies and slaughter them all. The bandit said that Dahan wants them to bring him back alive. They must avenge the death of the captain and their friends. The scout said that there were other people at the scene before them. They were probably members of the Red Gang. The guy asked, what about the headless body? The scout said he was the leader of one of the 3 groups. The guy said it's pure skill, and he can't believe that one man killed him all at once. And the rest of the bandits died without any resistance. The guy was telling the scout to stop, because it would be better if he went there himself, it's too dangerous. Someone has to patrol, remember? She alone can't do anything against a bunch of thugs. The scout saw the tracks and told the guy to stop talking and follow her and run. The scout thought, who could destroy the Red Gang leader and his subordinates who are skilled in martial arts? A person who strives to reach the level of magic in battle. The battle between Chan and the gang members was a battle to the death. They all tried to kill him, but no one could do it. They decided to attack together, but it didn't work. Chan dodged all the blows and faced the ringleader's brother. Chan got up on his horse, and jumped on that brother with his sword. He was cut in half, and his blood was spilled. Chan said it's called a magic circle. A lot of people die every time, but now he's the last one left. Dahan got down from his horse and told his men that they let some guy beat them. Beggars. He told Zhang that sword would cut his throat. Chan realized that this fight was definitely more difficult than with the last bandit. He saw the power in Dakin's eyes, and the aura was overwhelming him. Dahan says it looks like Zhang has learned a lot, but let him show him something more interesting. He tells him to stay focused and keep his eyes open. Chan saw that the gang leader was serious, he clearly had more experience in combat than he did. Chan told him to do as he says, but he's going to die eventually. And it's time to put an end to their crimes. With it, a person can gather internal energy several times or even dozens of times faster. It has become an unbearable temptation for many in this world. Since the time of Xiangyu, the first demon king, countless people have begun to study magical arts to become stronger. However, in the end, even Han Wu himself could not suppress this demonic madness because of magic. Most followers end up becoming demons due to dark magical powers. What would they do if they had the power to split mountains and divide seas? A man mad with blood becomes a monster that even his family can't recognize. Dahan told Zhang that he was pretty fast. But he couldn't get away from him. Zhang felt that he was getting worse. In addition, the blackness that was blurred until now became clear. How much strength this ringleader has, he can't understand. Daehan started laughing and said that he was different from the thieves he had slaughtered earlier. There was a ringleader in front of him who would blow his head off. On this new continent, he's never met a real swordsman before. It's harder than he thought. However, not to the point where he can't overpower him, said Chan. And attacked him with his powerful attack. But suddenly, Chong only had half of his sword in his hands. When he saw this, he was surprised and didn't understand how it happened. Zhang said he couldn't beat him with his sword. Now he'll have to come up with another plan for the battle. Chan turned around and hit the head from behind with his fist. From the head's screams, it was clear that he was hurt. Chung's attacks were always in the right moment, and he was able to finish them off. His speed played a big role in this. This was the moment when he decided to use his strongest punch. And made a fist at the Imperial Army. Daehan asked him if he was in the army. Zhang laughed and said no. He was the one who created it. The head said he became a demon. Chan looked at him and said there was nothing to be surprised about. What did he have to do to find out all this? Here come the scout boys, the guy said. It's like those scenes this morning, their injuries. The scout spotted Chan and said it was him. She asked him if he was the one who killed them. Chan turned around and walked away and said he did it. The scout said he was a member of the 70th Patrol. She asked him his name. The guy modestly said he was Zhang Gong. The scout put her hand on Daekian's chest. Zhang watched the whole thing and asked her what she was doing. The guy said they were looking for records of magical martial arts. They were sent to chase these criminals. The scout found something and threw it to the guy and told him to burn it to the ground. The guy said, as expected, he had it. Daehan asked where he put the gunpowder. Zhang saw them and said it was all about those notes. The guy said it right, he forgot to introduce himself to him. His name is Songhu, and thanks for defeating that demon. It was their mission, but he beat them. Chan thought and knew that he had heard that there were many demons in the New World, and this was just one of them. The scout said that Zhang must have killed the third Red Gang leader. His corpse is west of here. Zhang said it's true. The scout said Li Mangan was with them. He should be here too. The guy asked her if she meant that drunk guy. The scout told Songhu that we need to look at these lands. Someone might be watching them. Songhu couldn't believe that this guy had actually destroyed the Red Gang and its leaders single-handedly. Chan said since they're from the patrol unit, he has a question for them. He's getting a reward, right? Jung said, isn't there a bounty on the heads of these criminals? And he doesn't even know where Muraman is. If the resident see dozens of severed heads in his hands, he'll be the first one on the wanted list. The scout said he was lucky she had enough authority. He'll be rewarded for defeating the demon and helping the patrol. But all she has now are bonds. He'll have to find a trade association or go to an imperial city to exchange them for cash. Chan thought about what she said about the bond. It's really not that difficult. He'd better take them now. Sooner or later there'll be a chance to trade them. Zhang told her he's fine with it. The guy told the girl she was letting him go like that. Shouldn't they have examined his body? He could have been seriously injured. The scout said it's not necessary. His fighting ability is stronger than any magic. Did he damage his brain when he studied martial arts? What kind of nonsense is he talking about? The girl said that she should do her job, not talk to him. The guy asked, what else is there to patrol? The girl said that the demon's internal organs seem to have been crushed. And they'll have to find out, but in the meantime, there's one more place they have to go. The guy asked her where else they should go. And why so much work? Let them stop for a while. The girl said there's no time, she knows the location of the Red Gang's hideout. They killed all the adults in one village and kidnapped the children to sell. They're keeping them there, and she's determined to save those children. The guy didn't understand why that man had decided to interrupt the Red Gang, but he was sure that this wouldn't be their last encounter. Arriving in Baranjo village, Chong was greeted with joy. One said that it was the uncle who had come to visit them. Zhang told them that he had been delayed for a while. After resting, he said that before they went to Chongsangik village, they needed a break to fully recover. Chan went to bed and looked up at the moon and realized that tomorrow it would all be over. He didn't have time to heal his wounds. The next day, Cheongsangguk village was quiet, people were walking around outside, and there was no need for anything. This village was very famous for its sales, and the market was very developed in the summer time. Jong and the guys also came to this village. He told the man that his relative was lucky to live in such a place. To have so many goods and stores in just one perimeter. The man laughed and said she was never an ordinary person. The aunt came out on the balcony and said that she didn't expect them to come. The girl told them to go up to the second floor. She sees that they've brought a guest, so let him come up too. The girl thanked Chan for saving her nephew's life. They must be in his debt. There's not much here, but he can take it. Jong thanked her and said they didn't owe him anything else. But then he noticed her hands and thought about it. The man also thanked him once again, because thanks to him, they had arrived safely. He would stay with them for a couple of days to have a good rest. Chan said that for starters, could they tell me where the trading shop was and if there was a blacksmith nearby? The girl decided to show him the way, and a boy followed them. Jong put him on a horse and let him drive. The girl told one why he didn't stay with his father. And to be careful if he didn't want to fall. Huan told Han's aunt that he was careful. But he remembered and asked Chan where he learned martial arts. He's so strong. Chan thought for a long time about what to say, and said that he learned from different people that he's been hearing this question too often lately. Jong still said that there are quite a few martial artists in Jianwan who teach for money even if one has little skill, they can help. Wan was surprised and asked, don't you have to go to a martial arts school? Chan said it's the tradition of the New World. Most of the schools in Jianwan are schools for joining the Imperial Army. He must join the Imperial Army to learn proper martial arts and get paid for it. The reason why the master of the Imperial Army is called a true master is because he came from there. Hannah said they're here. Of all the blacksmiths in Cheongsangguk, this one is the best. Jong thanked her for her help. Chan had time to choose a new sword for himself at the blacksmith shop, and even exchanged his papers for money. And bought a new hat for himself. Hannah asked him if he was drinking. She could offer him some great alcohol. Jong told her thank you, but he had to go. Wan told him to stay longer. He'd have a home and food here. And he'd like to learn martial arts from him. Jong said he's a mixed martial artist. It's hard for him to learn. Let him ask his aunt, she's a master too. Hannah laughed and said that the guy understood after all. Chan thanked her for her instructions. He will leave before sunset. Hannah saw the boy couldn't take his eyes off Chung. And told him that boys cry too. Wan said he may never forget this moment. And Hannah should teach him martial arts. This is an opportunity to fulfill his dream. One day a guy tells a man that he's telling him from the bottom of his heart. He's just not cut out for gambling. Apparently the man hasn't figured it out yet. Either he's very bad at it, or he's had too much bad luck. The guy was upset, because he had been watching them the whole game and even checked their sleeves, there was no trick. The men looked at him and said he must be a Muraman if he carries a sword. Let him not get involved in this cruel game, if he can't even win at Mahjong, then he shouldn't continue. The guy told them he could handle it. He thanked the men for the game and said goodbye. The men started laughing and told him to stop by again, they'd always be happy to see him. Chan sat down on a chair and was upset, because he usually had everything under control. But suddenly he heard the sounds of a melody. It was the playing of a fragile pipa that soothed him so much. Chan looked at the people sitting in the place. And thought, what a life this hovering dust has. The lion continues to fly carelessly against storms and seas. Can this life be as peaceful as those farmers and merchants who smile so happily there? But suddenly 3 guys in uniform came in, telling someone they were there. Chan saw them and thought, who are they? They approached the musician and asked if he was the night tiger. The musician asked them what they wanted. The guys said that they're from a clan even and they came on behalf of the Shandong Emperor. He must already know why they're here, right Night Tiger? Night Tiger said Han's name. And apologized saying even Confucius doesn't care about it. And you can guess what this is about. The musician said he makes a living playing pipa. Should he take responsibility for that? The guys told him to cut the crap. Everyone knows she cheated the Confucius for her own gain. There are witnesses. Zhang said he hadn't enjoyed music in such a long time. They had to ruin it at a time like this. The guy told Cog that he told him how she treated an honorable Confucius. She stole from him and touched his family savings. The girl said she had no peace. What family savings are we talking about? Let them question Confucius himself. She knows nothing about it. The guy told her to stop ducking. She needs to put a sword to her throat so she can talk. The girl said that she can't believe that all this noise is because of some kid. He's only 16 years old. The guy said that he's not an ordinary boy. His family held an important initiation ceremony not so long ago. The girl asked them if they were really from the J clan. The boy asked her, why did she ask that? The girl said that if they really cared, they wouldn't have sent such lowlifes like them after her. She was sure that the clan leader would have come here personally. The guy said she's just asking for trouble. I think there's enough of that kind of scum in the world already. Chan saw this and said it was gonna be a 3-on-1 fight. The guys drew their swords and said they'd end it. When the girl saw the tip of the sword, she pushed off and flew up. But she also attacked them from behind so they wouldn't notice. The guys regretted their choice. The girl said he decided to attack her. He gave her no choice. The head of the joint was shouting that there was another fight. And why his place? If they want the money, let them take it. The man's son said there's nothing left this month. The man thought about it and said they'd better run away too. Zhang watched this performance and said that the musician girl is very good at fighting. In addition, there are no problems with her looks. There was a fight again. The guys decided to avenge their friend. But still they could not do it. Chan saw that she moved so quickly and easily, as if in the breeze. In this world, he has rarely met people who use the light gong technique. He is sure that this woman is one of the most capable masters in the new world. The girl managed to overpower them, and even with a sword she injured one of them, telling them to blame their Confucius for it. The girl breathed a sigh of relief after the fight was over. Chan was watching and started clapping her. The girl looked at him and apparently recognized him. The girl found her Panama and put it on. At that time, the owner of the place came in and said that there was nothing left in a preserved state. The boy said they came out of the bloodshed alive. The father said that's the only thing he's happy about. The girl went up to them and asked what she could do for them. As an apology for those thugs, the man said it happens a lot in their business and there's nothing you can do about it. Don't let the girl worry about it. The girl said that none of this would have happened if it wasn't for her. She gave them a sack and said it should be enough to rebuild the place. The man said you shouldn't do that, she's too generous. Chan watched it and saw that at least someone here had a conscience. But he can't afford to miss this opportunity now, can he? The leader will bring the survivors to justice, even if this fight was in self-defense. It's better if she leaves if she doesn't want to get into more trouble. And of course the guy too, in that case. The next day Zhang went on the road and said that he had lost all the money he had earned. Where can he get it again? He can't believe he has to make sacrifices to make money. It turns out people are such pathetic creatures. But suddenly his horse saw something and stopped abruptly. Chan looked up and asked what he had found. When he took a good look, he saw the girl from the restaurant fighting with some guy. The guy was telling her that she didn't want to be nice. The girl started laughing and said they were making fun of her. What's her fault this time? She asked. The man said that the heir to the family tried to hang himself without leaving a proper will. All because of some guest. Fortunately, he survived, but he still can't recover. Shouldn't she send some explanation to the elders of this family? The girl asked, why should she be responsible for the fact that that child decided to hang himself? The man said there are witnesses. They know she was close to Confucius. Even if what he says is true, he knows she had something to do with it. If she's sure of her innocence, then it won't be hard for her to prove it in Shandong. The girl said she's against it right away. He sees her going with him as the accused in his suicide attempt. And getting out of there alive. The man with a sullen face said she didn't have to worry about it. The girl took up her sword and told him to stop lying to her. Did he think she was stupid? Chong climbed up the mountain and watched the whole thing. He said that man was a master. He was different from the ones he saw today. He was a worthy successor to the traditional martial arts. And the girl's fighting ability is good, but it's not enough to match her opponent. Chan stood up and said, if she had been more convincing, none of this would have happened. But suddenly he turned around and saw a horse that made him very scared. Chan covered her mouth and told her to be a little quiet. And she doesn't have to go there, she has to stay here. Chong didn't wait long and went down to the ground to meet those guys. When they saw him dressed like that, they were both surprised. The man asked, who the hell is that? The guy lifted his Panama and said his name was Jang Gong and they would meet again. The girl said she couldn't believe it, they had met again. How did he end up here? The man realized that it was dangerous to jump from such a height as this guy had jumped from. The man said that he thought they already knew each other, but it didn't matter, let the guy go his own way. Because Chan is distracting them from an important case. He's been warned that if he doesn't back off, he'll have to make him. Jong said he talks too much. He asked them what the big deal was. The man said it was harassment of a criminal. The girl was outraged when she heard the words criminal. He said she had nothing to worry about, so they'll still brand her a criminal and lock her up. Chan asked him, will he hold her even if she says she's innocent? The guy said it's none of his business. The guy said if he doesn't leave now, his name will be on his list of victims, Jang Gong. Chan took up his sword and said he can't judge an innocent man. The man said the guy was a fool. He didn't think he'd meet a man playing samurai here. The girl was in a stupor, because this is all she needed. Why did the guy suddenly appear at this very moment? But they're both strong contenders. There are fights you should never get involved in. Just stand aside. Chan got angry and turned into a bloodthirsty monster. The man was surprised and realized that if they collided, he was dead. But suddenly Chan saw that the man didn't draw his sword. Had he already guessed the outcome of the fight? He must have developed the skill of foresight through years of training. I wonder what he'll do. The man asked Jong Gun where he came from. He said he was from the Jang family. Didn't he realize that from his last name? The man said Jong is from the Imperial Army. Jong said no, and not all masters came from there. Chan realized this guy wasn't from the army. Then who the hell is he thought to himself as he looked at him. The man said Chan won, he's backing down in this fight today. But that doesn't mean he's giving up. The man said his name is Jae Unsung. He wants to see if Jong can handle his influence on this continent. The girl was surprised that he would just leave it like that. Chan thanked the ancient Sega martial arts for helping him out today. This ability to sense a real threat at the slightest touch of a sword is amazing. Moreover, they teach you to retreat in time without losing your dignity. The man realized that Chon was definitely different from other masters. His strength was many times greater than any other masters he had met. Chan said it was easier than he thought, the girl may not thank him. The girl said she should have killed him. The lights won't stop. Now Jong's in danger because of her too. They should have killed him and gotten out of here. Jong thought, why is she so obsessed with death? It's like she's one of the Muramen. Jong told her that killing Jae Unsung doesn't guarantee that she'll stop being persecuted. The girl said that at least it would give her a head start. Jong said, doesn't she think she's expressing her gratitude for the rescue a little rude? The girl apologized for that. After all, that incident took away the last shreds of her sanity. Thank you Chan for helping her avoid unjust imprisonment in Gamsensen. Jong asked her if she was from the capital. The girl said not to be misunderstood. She doesn't support the emperor. It's true that this city started to prosper because of the imperial family, but not everyone from Gamsensen likes them. If she was happy with her life, she wouldn't be wandering around here now. Chan said he understood her and was about to leave. The girl stopped him and asked him where he was going. Jong said she had to go too. The girl told him he didn't hear what she said. Now they'll be after him too. Chan thought about it and said he'd start with her if he were in his place. That would give him a head start, wouldn't it? The girl asked him why he was even bothering to help her. Chan asked her if she needed a reason to help someone in need. The girl couldn't believe there were still people who thought that way. Jae Unsung is so strong that it's pointless for her to try to fight him. She can't let Young go. The girl told Jong-gun that she understood. Don't let him leave her. They know each other enough to trust each other. Even the entire Jae Unsung clan can't handle them. They can solve this situation. The girl said that she would pay him in full, so let him help her. Chan told her that since she would pay him in full, he would listen to her carefully. The girl said she has enough savings. Besides, she's sure he's not easy because of Sega's lack of skills. If he helps her escape, she'll help him with the techniques. Jong started laughing and couldn't stop. The girl asked him what was so funny. Jong asked her if she thought he couldn't learn it himself. The girl said it was about imperial military service. Hadn't he heard how hard it is to be an apprentice in the imperial army? Where discipline, outstanding skills, and above all, loyalty to the emperor is the foundation of everything. Moreover, abandoning all the past martial arts they knew, Chan realized that she was in the army. Chan asked, isn't passing martial arts to the imperial army a crime equivalent to treason? The girl said that for the sake of the rule of military exploits, it's forgivable. If a master has achieved the proper rank, he is allowed to pass on his skills to his apprentices. The so-called rule of military exploits was created by successive emperors at the top of the empire thousands of years ago. There's always something worth learning, or at least looking at. Did the girl think that was a tempting enough offer? Chan said he has no loyalty to the emperor. How will he become an apprentice? The girl said it will be fine, there is a master who owes her. He will not refuse to help him. Jong asked her if he owed her anything and if she was telling him the truth. The girl asked if she looked like a liar. It's a matter of life or death. Chong thought and remembered that he had heard that retired imperial masters and their apprentices were teaching for nothing. If he is accepted as an apprentice, people will stop asking questions about the source of his fighting ability. It would be quite nice to learn a little more about the martial arts of the imperial army. Chan asked her, where is that master? The girl said it would take about 2 days to get there. There are rivers and valleys along the way, so they could cover their tracks. Chan said they should hurry up. They've already lost too much time. Chan told her not to forget her promise. She better not cheat on him. The girl said she'd forgotten. Her horse died, so he'll have to wait here until she finds another one. Jae Unsong had been watching them all this time, and told his men to attack at the right moment. Let them do nothing until they know what else they're capable of. He was a member of that gang, or their intended target. The girl told him not to worry so much. They had crossed the river. They crossed the river. It's unlikely they'll find them at night, but she's sure he's not wasting his time. Jong said that sounds pretty carefree. The girl said because she knows she's innocent. If she reports to the main body of the Murim Order or the Empire, they'll be in trouble, won't they? The guy said he doesn't know if it's true. But what about witnesses? The girl asked what witnesses. There was only one girl, Confucius' fiancée. She was jealous of him. She was making good money from her talent, and because of her, she's now wandering in this forest. No doubt in her slanders she made her out to be some kind of prostitute. Otherwise she wouldn't have been accused of adultery. Chan thought about it and realized that he should be more careful with his questions. He asked her if she regretted it. The girl said that sooner or later she would have to go with Jae. Jong said that if he was going to regret it, he wouldn't have gotten involved. The girl blushed and said that Jong was a unique person. Usually such people don't live long and early. Jong asked her where she heard that. The girl laughed and said she was joking, but suddenly Chan noticed something in the trees and froze, examining with a steady gaze who was there. Jong told the girl that she was right. Jae Unsung really doesn't waste time. The girl couldn't believe they found them. The girl said she would report them to the Murim Alliance and the Empire when they reached the capital. She promises she'll make sure the governor of Gamsensen himself finds out about them. So they'll see how their famous clan handles it. Chan watched them and counted that there are only 10 of them. But he doesn't see their leader, maybe he's hiding. What's that Jae Unsung guy up to again? To send only his subordinates. He's decided to throw them to their deaths. The guys drew their weapons and glared menacingly at their enemies. The girl asked them, are they sure they want to do this? They don't want her alive anymore, is that what they're saying? Cheng told her that the performance she closed then at the pub, he is excited to see him again. The battle began, where the mercenaries attacked from all sides. But the girl had never shown her strength before. And now it's time to show it. The battle was difficult for the mercenaries, because the guys exceeded in ability. And killed everyone who got in their way. The mercenaries said that they couldn't see anything because of the flames. But then Chan approached them and started killing them again. The mercenaries saw that the guys approached them too fast. And in this case, they have less chance to survive. The girl turned around and saw Chang Gong and asked when he was so close to her. And saved her. They all stopped. Chan said they should think again. The odds are clearly not in their favor. Chan noticed that they didn't even bother to sharpen their black swords. They were obviously too blunt to fatally wound. Therefore, that's not why they're here. Chan put his sword behind his back and told them to take the wounded and leave. The girl asked him if he was crazy. They came to finish us off. Chan told them if they hurry, they can save the lives of their comrades. And get out alive. Chan said that's the end of their nap time. They should pack their bags and move out. The girl asked what the hell was that. Chan didn't pay attention and shouted to the horse, "Where is he?" The girl got angry and asked him if he was even listening. Zhang said they better hurry up too. They don't know when they'll decide to attack them again. The girl said they keep attacking us because he keeps letting them go. Why did he do that? Chan asked her, do they have to go through this village? Did she mention any local thugs? The girl said yes, definitely, because they need to send a letter. She knows there is a post office here because she has been here many times. Wouldn't it be better if they informed the people who can help them as soon as possible? Since Zhang let those bastards go yesterday, they should know their location by now. They'll see what he's capable of later when they meet the real criminals on those streets. Chan looked at her and just listened without saying a word. But at the end he said he could judge him all she wanted. So they came to this village. Initially it was empty, but then they saw the children and they showed them where the post office was. The girl took out a coin and thanked the boys and let them buy themselves something with the money. Chan saw this and told her she was good with kids. The girl smiled and said she had younger brothers. All four of them were so innocent and kind. If the situation had been better, they would have become real men. Chan realized that no matter how hard she tried to hide her feelings, her eyes always gave her away. And what she was really feeling. Chan asked her if it was her first time here. The girl said yes and asked what was wrong. Zhang looked at her for a long time and didn't say anything. He remembered her words before entering the village, that they needed to send a letter and he had been here more than once. Chan thought, why did she lie? The girl said they should go. If they send the pigeon now, they'll be safe tomorrow. At the post office, Grandpa asked them where they should deliver the letter. The girl said it should be delivered to the musician's cabin in the mountains. Grandpa said 3 coins would be enough. What does she want to give him? The girl wants to write that she is going to him for help. Grandpa asked for the name of the recipient of the letter. The girl said his name is Ju Yeren. The girl sent the letter and decided to buy a horse to continue the trip. The man told her that she has a good choice. Chan has been watching the whole time, and it seems to him that no one is following them anymore. The girl thought about it and said she was curious. What are they trying to accomplish? Zhang said it's good news anyway. But if they need them, why don't they take this opportunity while they are in the village, she asked. Zhang said that her old buddy Jae Unsung wasn't as easy as they thought. The girl got angry and said that Zhang thought an old buddy would force a man to go to court. What kind of nonsense is that? Zhang understood her, and he also wanted to understand Jae Unsung. What he was trying to accomplish by doing this kind of work. The girl said it's time for them to go. There's a good place to sleep nearby. Let Zhang follow her. Arriving at the place, the girl said that it is possible that their enemies decided to surrender, just like that. She's hoping that Jae finally realized that Zhang's skills are much better and backed off. Or maybe he's waiting for the moment of our separation. Chan looked at her and said that anything is possible. The girl smiled and said that it doesn't matter anymore. Tomorrow morning her people will meet them and everything will be over. Chong said, nibbling on the meat, that if it was true, he was very happy. The girl said that he would be able to learn about the martial arts of the empire. Is he happy about it? Zhang laughed and said that this is definitely an opportunity that can't be missed, and we should take it. She asked him why he didn't join the Murima alliance, but she was surprised because he wasn't excited. He'd have no trouble with his abilities, regardless of which martial arts faction. She's sure he'll be able to avoid trouble there better than her. Zhang said he didn't want to be tied down to a place. The girl laughed and said he was a real vagabond, right? The girl watched Chan, and saw that his gaze was full of calmness. Calm as the waves in the lake. Zhang decided to be honest and say that she was actually helping him. The girl asked if it was because she was pretty, right? Chan laughed and pulled himself away saying, how could she think that? Well, to tell you the truth, that's one of the reasons. The girl laughed and said she knew it. If that's one of the reasons, is there more? It must be the martial arts of the Imperial Army. Zhang said not really. He's just doing it for his own protection. He doesn't know how to explain it. He can't show it to anyone, but it's like someone lives in his head, and that someone can see their world through his eyes. He can't do anything. He just keeps watching him intently. He has such a helpless and transient look on his face. When he meets someone in trouble on his way, those eyes burn him from the inside. It's like he's saying he has to help these people. Chan said that it's probably someone yelling to him, isn't that what she was trained to do? But in the end, he's just another weak person too, but only he lives inside of him. He can't do anything to him if he doesn't pay attention to him. That's why he does it to him sometimes. If he continues to ignore it, he'll find out sooner or later those eyes will lose their hold on him. He'll just disappear like everyone else in this world. But at the same time, he can't let that happen, because they are also his eyes. If they disappear, it will be the end of his past, which he can no longer return. That's why he's helping her. Because those eyes are looking at her right now. The girl looked into his eyes and said he's a really strange man. But this strangeness is not disgusting. She said, as she approached his lips, that on the contrary, it attracted her to him. Suddenly the horse heard something and immediately shuddered. He saw black smoke coming out of the cave. The next morning, Zhang woke up and pulled himself up, saying that his whole body was aching after that night. But suddenly he saw a note on his backpack and wondered what it was. And he took it to read it. The girl said in a letter that she was sorry and thanked him for all those days. Don't let him follow her. It's too dangerous. Chan ran outside and said they were in trouble, the girl was missing. But suddenly he stopped and didn't see his horse. It occurred to Chan that the horse liked the girl and listened to her. Chan called him a pathetic cable out of anger. Chan didn't waste any time, and started to run, hoping to catch up with her. But then he realized that it had been a long time since he had practiced flying martial arts. After walking a short distance, he began to feel that they were exhausting his body too quickly. That's probably why they are not widely used even by experienced masters. When he climbed up the mountain, he said that the weather was wonderful today. It would have been better if he had been reborn in this world as a serene cloud instead of a human being. But then he noticed fresh horse tracks and realized he was on the right track. She must have been moving away from him all night. Where could she be? Zhang can't believe she let her horse go and took his horse. But he should definitely get it back. He's young and docile enough, and he wasn't planning on buying a new horse for the next 10 years. But suddenly someone attacked him, and Chan saw it and dodged the attack. In his eyes he saw a whip. After that, several more attacks were launched. Chan stopped and watched the attacker. The man said he didn't expect Zhang to be so fast. He was very impressed. Zhang asked him who else he was. Zhang saw that judging from his clothes, he's not some bandit. He's probably a clan member. Jae Unsong's followers have already found him. But at that moment, a girl came out and said that it wasn't him. When he saw her face, Chong was surprised and recognized the girl. The girl said that in the phrase "don't follow me," he didn't understand. She even took his horse to stop him. The girl didn't understand how he got to them so fast. For the first time, she regretted that he was so capable. The man asked her if this was the man she mentioned earlier. The girl said yes, they met 2 days ago when Unsen found her. He helped her deal with that pseudo-representative of justice. The man asked why he was still alive. Tracking Unsen was proving to be a real problem. He hadn't shown up since their first meeting when he was testing her skills. She thought he was waiting for them to separate from Jang Gong, which she did. She intended to use him as bait to divert Unsung's attention away from her for a while. The guy said she just left him. The girl said she was sure he wouldn't follow her. He doesn't know anything about her or their plans. The man said that even so, she should have brought him straight to them. If she couldn't kill him with her own hands, they would have dealt with him themselves. The man said her judgment got them nowhere. When they get back, the clan will punish her. The man asked Jong, was it true that he had surpassed Jae Unsung in a fight without even drawing his sword? Of course, there were a couple of flaws in his technique, but his overall performance was outstanding. Jae-ran also told them that Jong was not trained in the martial arts of the Imperial Army and was not a member of the clan. Jong said he's fine without it. The man said he's taking his word for it. If they had met under different circumstances, he would have invited him over. The man said his name was Yang Jok. He was a Yong clan warrior from Hebei. Does Chong realize the situation he's in now? He asked. Chong knew that the Yong clan was one of the most powerful clansmen along with the Jae clan. Unlike the Jae clan, which was almost banished to the new continent, the Yong clan was the ancient alliance of this land. So, she's also from the Yen clan. He's really at odds with the two most imposing clans in the new continent. Jong said that all those promises about the Imperial Army were false. The girl said yes, she had no other choice. She had to get out of the hands of the Jae clan. Besides, she didn't expect that some person from the street would be able to resist Jae and his clan. She thought he would die along the way, but, for some reason, Unsung stopped attacking. Chan laughed and said he must be amazed. That's why she ran so fast. What about that story about the young master? Is it false or true? The girl said it was her plan. She seduced that guy to give her the secret book of the Jae clan, and then convinced him that ending his life was the best atonement for his terrible betrayal. Jong said that his sister-in-law wasn't lying. The man told Jang-gun to just take it as another setback. Does Jong know why he let her tell him all this? Jong said that as a corpse, he couldn't tell anyone. The man said that's right, he thought Jong would be dumb since he's a vagrant, but in fact he's a quick learner. Chan realized that they weren't alone here. Now he understood where that strange feeling from the back was coming from. The man said that there was no point in resisting. Wanderers like him are not even close to the strength of the Yen clan. Chong saw that the second warrior was wielding a spear. He thought he was standing between two ancient clan warriors. The Yong clan masters are so strong that they need to fight together, asked Jong. The man said that he had misunderstood them, they would not have a fight, but a real execution. It would definitely take Jae Unsung by surprise when he would only meet his head on the way. If you think about it, not only did he bring Ju Yeren to them, but he also lured the enemy clan leader to them. They thanked Jang Gong, for that he deserved their praise. He really did a good job. The girl said she was sorry. She had warned him that it would be too bad if he followed her. The man said it was a great pity. He told Ju Yeren not to interfere and to stand behind him. Jong said as he thought, it would be better if he was reborn as a cloud. After taking on a few attacks, Chan said that he managed to fight back, but what kind of incredible fighting prowess is that? Ju Yeren watched the whole thing and said that it was quite expected, but it's true that he's not far behind in skills at all. The man made a rope attack, but Jong reacted in time and cut his rope. Who the hell is he, really? The man knew he couldn't let Chan get close to him. But at that moment, he caught his arm with the rope, but Chan managed to attack with his other arm. The man fell from his blow and lost his rope. But then a second warrior ran up from behind and threatened to kill him. Chan realized that he couldn't repel his attack with the spear. And realizing this, he took it all on his body. The spear pierced his chest. This did not scare Chong and he turned around with the spear in his chest, was able to launch his attack and hit the target. Chan was standing in the middle of the fight, bleeding, with a spear in his chest. The masters looked at him and were surprised. The man was thinking what kind of attack this guy did. This technique was much stronger. It was different from what he had seen. After all, it wasn't even a demonic martial art. Amazing. The man told Jang Gun that such abilities are incomprehensible to a man his age. Is he from some kind of martial arts family? Chan pulled out his spear and said to the man, yes, of course. From a family where the elders can use combat abilities just by including their imagination. The man said he had an interesting family. Too bad it doesn't mean anything anymore. The girl said it's really amazing, considering that he had defeated 2 experienced warriors from her clan. Chong saw her draw her sword and asked, she's not going to attack him, is she? She's so sure of her powers. The girl said no, she's not sure. At this time, they were being watched, and Unsen said that they seemed to have come at the right time. He said they'd take their time, wait until things settled down. And the battle between them went on and on. But then the girl fell down, and said that military masters are completely different. Even with an injured body, he is still irresistible. Chan told her that she won't last that long, he can stop the bleeding with blood acupuncture. The girl said she knew he was trying to avoid vital organs. That night in the woods, remember, Chan said he felt a stare from inside himself. She thinks she's felt something like this before. After she killed the man who was part of her plan, she saw their eyes. They were so pure and innocent. The eyes of the children she loved most in the world. And then, with her own hands, she killed them inside her. After that, they began to fade away. Her hands are so covered in blood, she can never wash it off. She said they're completely different because she didn't protect those eyes. She realized it when she heard his story. She died that day with those children. This body is still breathing, but she hasn't felt alive for a long time. The girl apologized for such a request she would ask. Let Chan finish what she started, she just wants to get back to them. Zhong drew his sword and granted her wish, it was all bloody and not the ending he had imagined. When he turned around, he saw Unsung with his men. Unsung said that he was still impressed with his Chong gun skills. He didn't even give them a chance to interfere. Zhong asked if the clan still wanted him dead. Unsung said that their young master, who tried to hang himself, still managed to survive. Thanks to Zhong, Unsung said, he was able to report the plans of the woman in the young clan, and that Zhong was not involved in it by choice. Zhong asked, what difference does that make? Unsung said that he was originally going to get rid of anyone who had anything to do with that woman. That's why he went after her. Know that he was always there in case something went wrong, to help and repay him for the information. Unsung said they could see that Zhong was seriously injured. They could help him. But then a horse came by, and Zhong asked him where the hell he'd been. How could he leave him in that cave? If he betrays him one more time, he'll sell her to the farmers. Chan raised his hand and felt an unbearable pain and thought that the bastard spear made it look like it was poisoned. Unsung said that the secret organization behind the Yen clan had no problem to use poison and similar dirty tricks to defeat their enemies. Chan got on his horse and told them to look at her tools. She could have hidden what they're looking for in there. The people asked the master, will she let him go like that? They could take advantage of his weakness and eliminate him. Unsen told them to leave him behind. He's not the kind of person he'd want as an enemy. Besides, he left the secret records of the En clan for us. Let him go his own way. Will he overcome it this time? He wonders what lies ahead. The scout had read that this guy's name was Chong Gong. He was about 28 years old, and his martial prowess could be compared to the Murim clan masters at least. She asked, is that it? Is she really a spy from the Murim clan? She managed to get approval from her superiors for their meeting. And she provides such pathetic information. The man asked, what did they expect? He is an ordinary person from Zhongyuan and he is not a member of any famous clan. There are many martial artists who are right now roaming the wilderness like himself. He found him on the list as he had received some sort of award several times. The guy said he couldn't have come from nowhere. He must be from some village. That's how they knew what family or clan he was from, right? The man said, if they want to know his location before he sails out of here, find the intelligence organization in Zhongyuan. He can't help them anymore. To him, he's just a martial artist, nothing special. The guy said that there was some truth to it. But still, We need to find out if he has any secret interactions with the clan or... All he can say is that he didn't use the thunderbolt technique, said Man. Didn't they say the dead bandit's body looked whole from the outside? The guy said yes, and his insides turned into mincemeat. The Imperial Army's thunder strike is different from his strike. He had a different martial arts technique. They're similar in that they destroy everything inside the victim. But the real thunderclap is even more brutal. After such a blow, all the blood will be completely knocked out of the body, and the body will of course be left with the effects of this force. That's the characteristic of a thunderbolt. All the internal energy is concentrated into a single fist, and it is so unfathomable that only senior masters of the Imperial Army can use it. The scout asked, what if he developed his move based on the thunderbolt? The man said he'd do it one last time. Thunderbolt requires such strong internal energy that even many in the Imperial Army only encounter this skill in books. Many claim that the power of 10 swords in one such strike. Because of its power, it is classified as a first-level martial art. The man said he understands why they suspect he's a master of the Imperial Army. But just because he's young and of unknown origin doesn't mean he's secretly in their service. He might just be gifted. Besides, since he's collecting rewards for criminals, isn't it lucky that he's helping them? The scout said she just wanted to make sure. So, did he get the information about the human trafficking organization yet? The man pulled out papers and said of course, all about the 6 kidnapped children and the whereabouts of their kidnapper. The scout was surprised by so many details. The guy said he didn't think this information needed any more explanation. The scout said it would be enough, good work was done. They'll contact him later. The guy said they seem to have taken too much of his time. We should get going. See you soon. The man took off his hat and said what a hard work he was doing. Chang Gong, when did he become so famous? This man was a secret member of the Murim clan. Dark Dragon, a member of the intelligence organization of the imperial family of the new continent of Yanggong. Of course he didn't tell them everything. To be honest, he doesn't have any useful information for them. Zhang Gong, the second son of the Gong family. He was well known for demonstrating excellent martial arts skills from a young age. His father, a merchant, wanted him to become a warrior in the Imperial Army. Some time ago, he had some misunderstandings with his family. After that, he left his home and made his way to the new continent. When he was young, he had many martial arts teachers, but none of them were warriors with skills beyond the level of ordinary military personnel. Ian wondered if he should have clarified the reason for the family feud, if he really was some kind of beast that killed 30 bandits by himself, and even used a technique similar to Thunderbolt. Seriously, the Imperial family and the Murim alliance are not comparable in strength and numbers. After all, they still don't know about Changgung. Maybe Yang said they caught a big fish. A little girl came to the lake, and decided to swim. But she saw blood in the water in front of her. When she stood up and looked around, she saw Changgun lying by the lake, bleeding. Zhong was out for a long time and saw memories from his childhood related to his family. The girl said that guy was smiling. Looks like someone's having a good dream. Do you think he's awake yet? With his eyes open, he became even more handsome. I think he is even more handsome than the people in Zhongyuan who live in the lower part of the village. The man asked, so what if he's handsome? The girl said it's nothing like that, she's just telling the truth. Among the people of Zhongyuan, it is said that one should take simple things lightly, right? Chong came to his senses and stood up holding his head. He asked the people if they could bring him some water. The girl was surprised and said he spoke their language. The man said if that's the case, it's a good thing. Zhong said he learned a few phrases here and there. But he can't speak the tribal languages beyond the mountains. The girl was surprised and said that she had never met a person from Zhongyuan who spoke their language so fluently. The girl asked if he had heard and understood their conversation. Zhong said he understood everything. The girl thought that with his eyes open, he was even more handsome. In her opinion, he was even more handsome than the people from Zhongyuan living in the lower village. The girl got scared and ran away without saying anything. The man shouted to the blue she-wolf where she was going. She shouted that she would bring water. The man laughed and said that she was just a little embarrassed about what she said. Let Zhong ignore her. She wants to seem determined, but everyone knows how shy she is. Zhang held his chest and said they were good at Chinese. The man said that their lands had been connected for a long time, which would be silly since they had been cooperating for over 100 years. Zhang saw the dirt on his wound. It has a peculiar odor, he doubts it's just dirt. Such an injury could have killed him if not treated properly. Zhang thanked the man and said he's still alive because of him, and introduced himself as Zhang Gun. The man said he was a red wind. He was so surprised when the blue she-wolf brought him to the body. But judging from what he had seen during those 2 days, even without their help, he would have gotten back on his feet. He has the unusual ability to recover. And he has the body and character of a martial artist. He asked Chan, is he being stalked? Zhang said no. Red Wind said, then why was he lying wounded on those rocks? And how did he get that wound? Red Wind apologized for his insistence, but he must also understand him. He wants to make sure that Chong is not dangerous. If he is willing to swear an oath that he will do anything to protect his tribe. Chan knew what he was getting at. He had the spirit of a tribal warrior. Zhang said the people who were chasing him are already dead. He doesn't have to worry, these lands were discovered by them before other peoples. They were different from the helpless and pitiful people he had read about in his past life. Chan approached the blue she-wolf and thanked her for the food. The girl was surprised and said he was already up. The girl asked, does the horse have a name? He's so smart, he didn't even let her near him right away. Chong said he's more cunning than smart. She can call him Cuckoo. The girl smiled and said that she doesn't know what people in Zhongyuan base their names on, but she doesn't like it very much. Zhang said that he named it because of its interesting pronunciation, but he thinks it's an inappropriate name because he's always amazed at how sneaky he is. The girl asked him what he meant. Chong said he thought it was the original owner. The girl was surprised to hear that. Zhang thought about how to explain the story that was lost to her. Red Wind saw them and asked Chong Gun, he was already able to walk without help. Zhang said it's all thanks to him. The man said they're doing the right thing. People need to move more for a speedy recovery. He thinks it's time. Their chief wants to meet him. What does he say about the meeting? Was Chan surprised to hear about the chief? The man said that he is the one who communicates not with man, but with his soul. He is also the oldest in their tribe. And it was he who insisted on curing him. Chan said okay, and told him to take him to him. He told the girl she'd stay here. The chief only wants him. Chan suddenly remembered that he hadn't expressed his gratitude for saving her. And thankful that she hadn't left him. The girl told him to just tell her a few stories about Zhongyuan and they would be even. The man said they were there. There was a tent in front of them, and Chung entered it. The chief said he had finally come to him. And that makes him Chong Gong. Chan looked at her and said that he had been told that the chief wanted to see him. The chief said that his pronunciation was pretty good. Where could he have learned their language? Zhang said there's a place in the southwest called Chenghu. It's the biggest city built by the emperor. Many people go there to earn money, and there you can find teachers who will teach any language for money. The chief asked, does he work for someone in the central district? She said she saw that Zhang is a man of the wilderness and rocks, and those people are selling their honor for some coins. And he has a noticeable youthful accent. Chan thought these natives were regionalists. The chief said he's blind in one eye. And he's the oldest of the tribe. But even among the stranger clans in this vicinity, he doubts that there is anyone older or wiser than him. He has lived so long on this earth that many are already wondering how he is still alive. And it's all thanks to his ancestors who look after him. Although there are some individuals who are convinced that demonic arts are involved. Of course, he didn't let them get away with it. He asked his ancestors to break their legs. Isn't he right when he says that everything should be based on respect between brothers, even if they're from different clans? He could already do magic while they were still newborns. And these are young in their time. The chief said Red Wind was the only acceptable one here. Chan said he knew the chief insisted on treating him. The chief said that he had to reject the blue she-wolf's request. He always senses if a person has a demon heart inside, which he didn't, so it was reasonable to help him when he was on the brink of life and death. Chan hoped he had no other reason. The chief said that he was also very interested in him. Chong asked him what he meant. Suddenly he noticed that the second eye of the chief had changed. The chief asked Jong-gun if he was enjoying his second life. Chan said that just like the rest of the world, there's nothing to enjoy. The chief said that it's not like demonic power. He's heard that such things happen without the will of humans. He never thought he'd see it with his own eyes. He thinks you can only see such things when you're older. Jong asked him if that's why he was interested in him. The chief said, wouldn't someone else in his position be interested in a man who is now living a second life? If Chong knew how surprised he was when he saw his face, for a second he thought he was facing a real demon. Jong said it seems his eye is more interesting than his case. Can he really see people's souls? The chief said he'd lose his power if he talked about it. And this matter is not important now. Are the people of the capital really willing to risk their lives to keep their so-called martial arts secret? Chan said, just like the chief said, the people are willing to sell their honor for coins. Chief said, so Jang Gong also teaches martial arts for money? He's been living like this all his life. Jong said he'd love to, but it would put him in too much trouble. Since he's been developing his skills by doing different things. The chief said it's no big deal, he just needs Jong to fight him and that's it. Jong asked him again, fight him? That night, Chong was relaxing outside and watching people. Red Wind came over and asked him how the meeting with the elder had gone. Jong said he wanted to be trained in martial arts. He seemed serious. Did something happen in the village? Red Wind said the kid's a quick learner. They don't usually tell outsiders that. But these are different times. One day, they sent a young tribesman to the lower village. He came back with a few Central County residents and insisted on selling the land. But their people have lived in this valley for over 100 years. How could they sell their home, and where would they go? Is ancestral land something they should sell for some strangers? They were confused. He had spent too much time in the lower village. He tried to convince all the tribe members by saying that they would never have this opportunity again. He said such strange things that he wanted to kill him on the spot. Chong understood that there was a snake in every seed. Red Wind said that the people at the center had listened to their firm refusal and accepted it. They said they had already bought the land and that we had to leave the place. They showed us some papers to prove it. It was written proof that the Swift Raven had gotten the rights to this land and 500 silver coins for it. He sold their entire tribe and ran away. Chan said they were betrayed. He realized that this land was a legacy left by their ancestors, and even more than that, it was something they shared with each other. And at the same time, they believed that they are just borrowing this land from nature. So they may not even understand how the people from the center do their dirty work. Chan asked if they remembered who exactly stamped the documents. Red Wind said it was the Trade Alliance. He heard it's some kind of organization that protects the rights of sellers and distribution rights. Chan said that such unfair trade is forbidden by the Trade and Muram alliances. The empire doesn't encourage it either. Jong thinks the person who forged the documents is in cahoots with the members of the trade union to cheat them. Red Wind said it was to be expected. Chan said the smartest thing to do would be to send someone to the Muram alliance. Red Wind said that they had already thought of that. They also met with the head of the Murima Union. He seemed nice, but he doesn't know if he was bribed too. One bribe could buy them enough time to kill everyone in their tribe. Chan asked if there was any reason why they wanted this land so badly. There's nothing special here. Red Wind said it might be because of the gold mine in their valley. Jong was surprised to hear about the gold mine. Chan said that tomorrow he'll be able to move his arm freely. Let them gather everyone and they'll protect their gold mine. Chan asked if that's all the people in the tribe who can fight. The man said yes, that's all there is. Chan counted and saw that there were about 10 of them. But suddenly he saw a blue she-wolf and was surprised that she was here too. She would be able to stand up for herself. Chan said that he's sure that even the mercenaries in this neighborhood won't do them any good. Those crooks definitely think that I'll defeat them in numbers. The man said they'd have to take on 4 men each. Even so, we're sure we can stand up to them. Chan knows that it's not impossible for them, but with so much. They told Chan, if he's so worried, why don't they show off their abilities? Chan can call him the Raging Bear. Let them see what he calls martial arts. Chan laughed and saw a healthy man in front of him. Although he already thinks he's ready to teach them a lesson, Chan said that the Raging Bear offered a good suggestion. Just make sure they don't hurt themselves too badly. They wondered why the blue she-wolf had brought some corpse to the village, but it turned out to be very funny. Red Wind asked Chang Gun what he would say. Everyone was curious. Chung realized that this was his plan from the beginning. Chung said, well, if they're asking for it, I'll do it. The blue she-wolf looked at him and heard that he was recovering quickly, but there was no way that he had already recovered completely. The furious bear was surprised and asked, what was that just now? People began to discuss whether they had seen it. How could he be so fast? How could a rabid bear miss his punch? The Raging Bear thought Chan's legs were made of metal. He just hit him with his feet, but his head is ringing like a boulder. Chan started teasing him and asked him if it was true. The bear couldn't stand it and attacked him, but Chan managed to dodge. Chan saw that his attacks weren't working on him. And he was already out of breath. If it wasn't for my first hurricane, he would have been already. And Bear is more resilient than him, he'll give him credit for that. Chan said he suggested we end it there. He thought that was enough. Bear said no. He hasn't shown him his real strength yet. Red Wind told him to stop, but it was too late. The bear was beginning to show his real strength. He picked up speed and attacked Chan. But the Red Wind told him not to do it, and he disobeyed. Chan didn't move and took the blow. He didn't realize how he had such speed and strength. This is not the strength of a man from the Central District. They didn't lie, and now he's confident that each of them can take on 4 opponents. Chan realized that he would like to continue the fight, but he needs to stop this right now. And he struck with an elbow, right in the liver. He realized that he has no more time and energy for this. The bear fell from the impact with such speed that it even flew 10 meters away. Everyone was surprised how Chang Gong had managed to defeat it. Zhang said that the moment he hit him, he felt a different power protecting his body. He's never seen anything like it before, so tell me what it was. Red Wind said it's one of the rarest skills in the Central District. What the bear used was the power of spirits. And they are not the only ones on this earth who can use mystical powers. He said they had to move a rabid bear to the village. Good thing he just fainted. Chan said that he had never seen Chenghu use such power. Red Wind said that not all tribes or even clans can wield the power of spirits. It's not something that is available to everyone. This power is like an internal energy. But he couldn't feel his center key. How strange. The she-wolf said that to harness the power of the spirits, you must first meet the spirits. If he opens his heart to them, he will receive the spirits of all creatures on earth and the power of his ancestors. Red Wind told the she-wolf to keep her mouth shut. She asked what was wrong. If he doesn't let them, he can't meet them. Red Wind told her how she could tell him now. She told him not to say he wasn't going to tell him himself. He said no. He just wanted to tell you about the existence of this power. The she-wolf said she made a mistake then. It seemed to Chan and he realized that this was a secret that only those in the tribe should know. Zhang said to continue their training. They asked how to fight martial artists, right? Red Wind surreptitiously asked the blue she-wolf what she thought. Would Chong be useful to them or not? She turned around and said yes. She knows that and they can't do it without him in such a difficult fight, for us. Chan said that martial artists are too dangerous. It's best not to face them in sword and spear combat. So direct and simple. Chan told Red Wind to lure them into the forest and use the trees as shields. Red Wind said they would block their strong attacks. Chan said it right, their brethren will have enough power from the spirits he saw before. It would be easier to keep them safe if he knew the level of their opponents. Chan asked the guy what about. Red Wind said that he decided to leave 2 guys behind to watch so that the others could return to the village. Also, they're already setting traps in the forest at his request. Chan said that's great. If it's not enough, they have no choice but to put their lives on the line. He's hoping that luck will be on our side for a little while. Chan came to the armory in a blue she-wolf and was surprised at how many weapons there were. Blue Wolf asked how he was doing. Zhang said he got a message that there were weapons here, so she's the one looking after them, although he seems to be the youngest of all the warriors. The blue she-wolf got angry and said that in his opinion, if she was young, she couldn't be entrusted with any responsibilities. She's the fastest in this tribe, not counting her uncle. Those martial artists will get an arrow in the eye if they try to attack her. Chan realized she was an archer. He said he understood now. He didn't know anything about it. The she-wolf said that it's okay, everyone thinks that way at first. Taking the bow and arrow, she asked, "Isn't Chan interested at all?" "What's it about?" asked Chan. The she-wolf said it was about the power of spirits. He didn't even look surprised. The other tribes have been bugging them and they all want to know about it. Did Chan realize that she wanted him to ask about this power? Chan asked if she would tell him about it. The she-wolf said he was curious after all. It's really a secret, but when the time comes, the spirits will come to him first. And when they do, their hearts will open. After this ritual, Chan Gong can be called a true warrior. Zhong asked, "If the heart opens, what does that mean?" The girl forgot and thought about what to say to him. Chan laughed. How could she push him to ask questions when she doesn't know the answers to them herself? Open her heart, is that what she meant? The she-wolf repeated this expression for a long time, but in the end she said that she doesn't know the answer, to be honest. She only knows that she has to discover it somehow. Chan asked her if he could check something. The she-wolf asked him what he wanted to check. He told her to give him her hand. When he touched her hand, he said it wouldn't take long, and Chan said that just like he thought, he can feel all her blood vessels around her heart. And that's the center of Qi. It's certainly not just channeling her energy. He can feel her breathing through the center of Qi. The she-wolf asked him if he saw something. Chan took his hand away and said no, he didn't see anything. The she-wolf asked him to explain what he was trying to do. Chan said his guess was wrong. If the martial artist tries to grab her hand, let him do it. The girl asked him why. Chong said that although it is a rare skill, some masters can neutralize their opponent with their pulse. The girl asked if they could do that, too. She'll keep that in mind. Now she'll never let anyone grab her wrist. Except for him. Chan asked why except for him. The girl closed her eyes and ran away without saying anything. But Zhong realized that she was in love with him. Chong now understood where the tribe gets its power from thanks to the blue she-wolf. But it would be impossible for him. He has already created a key center and put his inner energy into it. If he opens his heart, his energy will begin to dissipate. But anyway, he didn't tell them he could help with that. There may be a way to get the key out of the blood instantly. The question is what he can get out of it. After a while, the training was underway and the traps were all prepared. Chan became so attached to them that they began to consider him their tribe. After another 4 days, everything was quiet, and a group of people were heading towards the tribe. They were in such a hurry that they could be heard from far away. The she-wolf told her uncle that they had already arrived. Red Wind listened and said it was definitely them. And they arrived with a huge team, bigger than they thought. He told the she-wolf to hurry up, they need to report to Zhonggun and the others. Guy asked the black snake, did they do the right thing by killing that trade union member? Snake asked, are they still thinking about it? Let them not forget that that coward was going to betray them by conspiring with the leader of the Muram Alliance. The guy said that it had been coming for a long time, yet they shouldn't have done it. Because of this, he had to leave his fighters behind and take only the swordsmen who didn't suspect anything. It was the former gang leader Kong Ren. Snake said to forget about it. They have to make sacrifices to achieve their goals. Kong asked if they could get the gold mine now. Snake said there was no guarantee that we wouldn't have to sweat for it. The gold mine was just an excuse to expel the natives. Kong realized that he was only saying that because he wasn't the one who created and maintained the army, and for the sake of that, Kong had spent all of his savings to hire 30 swordsmen. Kong said they can only hope that poor guy told them everything he knows. Snake said that they shouldn't worry about him. He confirmed the information with his own blood. He had the spirit of a true beast. Everything is going according to plan. Master will be happy to hear that. Kong agreed and said that was a good point. Kong realized that he hadn't even told him what their plan was. How long should he stay in the dark? Kong told him that it would be better if the native settlers were scared and left the land themselves, so he could return to his army, but suddenly one of the soldiers told them to shut up. That's when the trap went off, and the horse got scared and fell right into it. Snake told everyone that there were traps ahead and to stay where they were. Kong asked if this was the work of those backward natives. The people told the Lord that someone was coming to meet them. They could see from his clothes that he was not from this land. Kong told him if he's here in passing, let him pass slowly. Chang said he was telling them in case they didn't understand yet. Their unjust fraudulent contracts against the peaceful people will bring them serious consequences and punishment from the Murim and Merchant Alliance. They should be imprisoned in Murim prison for the rest of their lives. Kong asked, what the hell is he talking about now? For a strange passerby who appeared out of nowhere, he's too brave. The snake said that it seems that the wild tribe living in the valley hired this guy. He's not dangerous. Kong asked him, is he sure? Snake said that this poor bastard, who decided to take advantage of the natives' wealth, has something to say to them. He thinks he can stop them alone. He's asking for trouble, asshole. Chan realized that to them they were just a wild tribe. He told them he offered to settle things peacefully. They don't have to chase away the local settlement for a gold mine. They can mine the gold together and divide it amongst themselves. They'll be able to make enough to live on. There's enough gold for everyone. Kong asked if he wanted them to share the gold with those savages. That'll never happen. Why should they share a fortune with people who don't even know the price of gold? These primitive freaks are not worthy of this land, and he'll lose his life too if he doesn't get out of their way now. They'll kill all the natives who built those damn huts if they don't obey them. Looking at all those damn kids running around, they wouldn't have a problem objecting. Just as suddenly, the she-wolf let loose an arrow and hit right at Kana. Kong said the natives are here and it's an ambush. They're coming and we have to defend ourselves. Kong asked the black snake to help him, and asked him to do something. The snake asked him what he wanted him to do. Kong said that martial arts, with his abilities, he could save them from destruction. Snake asked, why would he do that? Kong fell off his horse and showed no signs of life. People were all surprised to see this and that the snake didn't help him. Zhong said it was a touching goodbye. Snake said it's those savages. They've been hiding in the forest all this time. Red Wind praised the she-wolf and said that he couldn't take it anymore, especially after his last words. The she-wolf said that their leader has fallen, and now they will see what they will do now. The people asked what they were to do. Whoever paid them is already dead. There's no point in fighting against them. They still haven't gotten anything. Snake asked them, didn't Khan tell them? If they continue on this path, they will come across a village filled with gold. The people remembered that Kong had told them there was a gold mine waiting for them. How could they leave empty-handed after all they had been through? Besides, those barbarians had killed their lord. Right as he was speaking, they threw a spear at him. Should they let them get away with it? The serpent's plan was reaching its target thoroughly, and he rejoiced. Chan saw that the strange man in black could raise morale. He's watching from the sidelines. Chan didn't understand why they had to go so far. But suddenly he began to smell something acrid. But at that moment he realized, and couldn't believe his eyes. Chong turned around and shouted to his men that they had released poison gas. But when he looked at his men, he saw that it was too late. Red Wind told everyone to hold their breath. Chan saw what they were doing and did the same. Suddenly, something began to happen. A strong wind blew. The snake saw it and thought it was a lion's roar. It was Chong, he was able to do it. Snake thought, how did this guy know about this skill? Unless he was a Shaolin disciple, but this technique can only be used by those who are equal in power to the monks. But he seems to be doing well. Snake said it wasn't a lion's roar. He still didn't have enough strength to break the demon. How could the sound stop the poison from spreading? Where in the world did he learn that technique? If that was a lion's roar, everyone's eardrums would burst. But if you control your voice properly with your inner energy, this can be avoided. And make your whole body make the loudest sound possible. Red Wind asked the she-wolf if she was okay. She said yes, don't let him worry about her. It's better to let him say what it was now. Red Wind said he wasn't sure at all, but there seemed to be some kind of smoke coming out of nowhere that didn't allow him to control his consciousness. Then he heard someone's loud voice and was able to return to reality. The she-wolf said it was Jang Gong, he was the one who did it. In fact, he saved them all with his growl. The snake started yelling at his men, have they forgotten what they were paid for? Let them kill those natives. And from now on, he's in charge. He said he'd give them more money if they'd finish them off. People started to resent him and called him a bastard. Can he order them around like that? He's sick of living. There's something wrong with these locals and they don't have to do it anymore. Snake asked if they'd forgotten the job they'd agreed to. He'll remind them that they came here to kill and rob. Stop acting like pathetic cowards. The people told him to shut his mouth, he's not even their leader. They don't even think about obeying him. The snake couldn't stand it and threw the needle right at his man for his much resentment and inciting others. The snake told them to shut up and listen to him. They can't quit now. They can only leave here with the gold, no other way. All the jewels and women of this settlement will be theirs. He'll take care of this upstart, and they'll go and deal with the weaker ones. The men drew their weapons and agreed. Said they would take what was theirs. And they would leave no one alive. Chan agreed with them, but they wouldn't have a way back. Chan put his hand on his shoulder, and the Red Wind said it was a signal. He told everyone to get ready. They'll lead them into the forest, according to plan. He told the she-wolf to follow him. The people saw the tribe retreating and they need to catch up with them and kill them, but they will go to the left to meet them from the other side. Snake laughed and said that they obviously have something prepared for us. Do these savages really think they can defeat steel swords with their sticks? Snake said that unfortunately for them, he welcomed the real sadists with him. Chan said that he wouldn't worry about the settlers if he were him. Pulling out his sword, he told him it was time to see what his enemy was capable of. Snake said he wanted to see what the guy was capable of. The snake immediately released his needles, but Chan saw them and deflected them with his sword. Snake was surprised by the guy's skills and thought, what kind of beast is he? His stealthy attacks didn't hurt the guy at all. Chan moved in closer and launched his attack. Snake dodged his attack. The guy said that Snake isn't just here for the gold. Merchant, it's just a disguise. The serpent laughed and said that of course he had other interests besides gold. It can be mined on many other continents. Chong said that means his target is actually that tribe. Snake told him to mind his own business. But anyway, he won't live till tomorrow morning. The guy told him that he decided to get the sword after all, since his hidden techniques don't work. Snake said why not, it's no ordinary sword. Snake asked him if he could feel this darkness and coldness exuding from him. Chan said hidden techniques, poison, and now demonic martial arts. Where does he get all this from? At this time, the battle for territory was non-stop, people were trapped and significantly the tribe was interrupting them. The bear did not hold back, and used his power to knock out one of the men. He told them to leave their land. But suddenly he didn't notice the enemy with a sword coming at him. But the she-wolf was there in time and fired her arrow right at him. Chang Gong, as ordered, they're continuing the attack. Let them hold on a little longer until they stop the outsiders. Snake told the guy that this was a new martial art, even if he doesn't even try to compare it to what he saw in his desert. This is the truth, his development was in the shadows and outside of the empire itself. As he struck, Chan had time to step back and he cut the tree in half with his blow. Zhong was surprised by his impressive inner energy. He looks a little exhausted, but he doesn't try to lose control of the situation like a real leader. Snake said that judging from the way the guy holds his sword, he concludes that the guy is not from the Imperial Army. He doesn't have that arrogant expression on his face, so he's not from a famous clan. He's probably under the wing of the Murim Union, he's part of some secret unit. So the Union knows what's going on here. Chan is now sure they're up to something. He said he was just a passerby. Snake said he doesn't know if the guy's cheating or being a fool. He's sick of him either way. He'll see if he'll be more cooperative if he chops off his arm. Zhong didn't wait and attacked him himself. Snake said it was a pity. If he wasn't part of the Murim, he would have invited him to join them to learn more deadly martial arts. Chong felt that his inner energy was literally pressing down on him. If he didn't change the course of the fight, he would still be at a disadvantage. Even if he has to go to his limit, he has to end it once and for all. Snake said that the guys look changed, and it's time to decide which one of them will stay alive. Now Chan said he sees a gap. He asked him where he's rushing to at such a crucial moment. Snake was surprised to see a sword that could split into 3 blades in front of him. But it was too late. Snake fell to his knees and asked him who he was. The guy looked down at him and said he was Jong Gun. Red Wind saw one of his men wounded, and he was begging for help. Tied up his leg, he screamed in pain. He saw that many people were hurt, but luckily everyone was alive. He asked where the blue she-wolf was. The guy said she just left to look for Jang Gun. Red Wind was angry because she didn't even warn him. He told everyone to listen and said they should hurry up and leave the place before dark. Chan checked the snake's pockets and said that a wallet and an envelope were all he had. Nothing that would help them find out his identity. Chong said he hid the envelope very well, like there was a letter inside. The girl asked him what it said, if it was something important. Jong said he didn't understand that there were signs painted on it. He asked the girl if she had ever seen anything like this before. The girl got scared and told him to get it away from her. Jong was surprised and asked what was wrong with her. The girl asked him if he felt anything at all. This piece of paper is soaked in evil. She doesn't know how to explain it, but it gives her the creeps. It's obviously a bad sign. Anyway, don't let him take that envelope to their village. Chan wondered what was wrong with her. He'd never seen her so scared, and why couldn't he feel anything? He should show these signs to the one-eyed chief. The chief said he's grateful to Jong-gun. Thanks to him and the plan, they managed to avoid disaster. Chan said they're not done yet. Red Wind already knows about it. They need to contact the head of the Murima Union to get permission to defend themselves and own the valley. The chief said that everything would be fine. Soon life in their village would be calm again. Chan put the letter on the table and said that he found it in that instigator's cloak. When the blue she-wolf saw the signs, she was struck with fear. Can he explain it? Chan said he was afraid that the gold mine was just a cover, an excuse to drive their tribe out of the valley. The chief said it's a demonic talisman. Evil itself. He thinks he knows what those people really wanted. Chan asked, what is it? The chief said it's not what, but who. A spirit used to live on this land. It was he who could open the hearts of the warriors and give them strength. He is part of this nature and all of us. This spirit is our ancestor and we are his descendants. He taught them wisdom, showed them how to find happiness and be loyal to each other. They will not leave this valley, because he still dwells among them. He had heard the stories of why the neighboring lands call the spirits eternal burdens. Where Chong came from, they force people to capture peaceful people living in the forests and cut open their stomachs to learn their abilities in the so-called martial arts. The purpose of the talisman is to evaporate the spirit to the ground and harm it. It is a demonic force that can wound the soul and get its will. No wonder the blue she-wolf sensed something wrong. One day she must take his place. That night, the boys began to celebrate their victory over their enemies. And for defending their place of residence. Chan saw this and went to the fire, taking the letter he threw it into the fire to make it disappear forever. A boy came up to him and asked if he was leaving already. Jong looked at him and said yes, because his work here is done. The boy said he would continue to wander. The earth is the floor of his house, the sky is the roof over his head, and he's the only column of that house. A column standing alone sounds great. Chan asked the boy what he wanted. He was thinking, when the boy showed up, he didn't even notice him. The boy started laughing and said that Jong had a funny look on his face. Chan watched him and saw that he was an unusual kid, even talking strangely. And those eyes were looking at the world in an adult way. But suddenly he realized something. The boy thanked Chan for keeping the outsiders from harming his children. And for burning the papers, so his people would be safe. Jong said he thought the villagers would shun him if he carried them around with him. The boy laughed and said that's right. None of them liked it, who created these talismans, was obviously very lonely. He handed it to Chung and said to take it. It's for good deeds that people should always be rewarded. Zhang asked him what it was. The boy said that at first he was going to open his heart to him, just like his children. But he thought that's what Zhang needed more. Let him accept his gift. Let him swallow it when he's ready. Chan asked if it was some kind of medicine or elixir. What would happen if he swallowed it? But suddenly he looked around and saw that no one was there. He wondered when the boy had time to disappear. He said he was accepting their gift, and clenched his fist and said the spirit was too. At that moment, everyone gathered to see Zhang gun off. The she-wolf ran and couldn't understand how he could leave like that. At least he could say goodbye. The attackers were brought to the Murim. The scout said that Quan Ren, the murder suspect, was killed. The head of the trade union, Quag Song, said that unfair treaties with indigenous peoples are made quite often on these lands. Quag wondered how they knew what was going on so quickly. They were going to lay low for a while. The scout said that of the 30 swordsmen, they were the only ones to survive. Did any of the villagers get hurt? The guy said yes, but they're better now. They defeated the mercenaries and stood up for their rights. The scout asked Quag if he was sure he didn't know anything about the treaty. Quag was surprised and said nothing. He knew he had no right to make a mistake, otherwise he'd be in big trouble. The only one guilty here is Kong Ren. He's the one who killed his friend and attacked the village with the squad. They have no proof that he was bribed. Quan said no. He really didn't expect him to be capable of such a thing. If he had known, he would have tried to convince him to leave this tribe alone. He knows in his mind she's reproaching him and thinks he's incompetent because he didn't figure it out from the beginning, and he agrees with her. The girl said she heard him. They'll take these soldiers and he can go back to his place. Tell him to tell everyone that the Merchants Association should prepare monetary compensation for the people of this valley. Let him draw up a document confirming the ownership of the land with an official stamp of the governing body. Quag said it's done. He'll personally prepare all the necessary paperwork. The guy asked the girl if she'd let him go, just like that. She found information in the safe about bribes from that Kongriyong. They can take him down right now. The girl said, and then, if they let him go, the common people may suffer again. Other criminals may take over the place again. You can't do that. The girl said that when they check the safe, it will be taken care of by people with more authority than us. He can rest assured. The girl said she heard someone couldn't be identified. What's wrong with this person? The guy said they say it's the one who fought Chan. He was looking at the corpse, and it seems he had magic. The girl said, could it be the Tang Dynasty gate? The guy said, it's impossible, it's been over 100 years since the emperor destroyed it, it's just a coincidence. The girl said that when a new continent was discovered, it made sense if someone was able to survive and escape across the ocean. The guy said it can't be, does he really think someone resurrected that crazy family? The girl said she doesn't think so, maybe he's just a crazy fanatic, she'll report it to the others. The guy said okay, then he'll get ready to leave. The girl looked at the corpses and told the guy if he knew that Zhang was one step ahead of them again. At that time, Chong was in the cave and screaming in pain because the valley spirit had given him a crystal of pure energy, but it also contained a powerful poison. If the toxins aren't neutralized, his power won't turn into internal energy and spread throughout his body. If that happens, he won't even get half of his original strength. Chan began to get worse, and he realized that he needed to protect the energy so that it would not dissipate and leave him. The next morning, Chong regained consciousness and was already meditating to restore all his energy. In a moment, he saw that the crystal had finally lost enough power for him to subdue it. He could feel the energy frozen inside like ice. Zhang went outside and asked the horse how long he'd been waiting for him. They'll be out of here soon. They need to find a place to stay before sunset. Chan said he would feed him something tasty when they got there. He felt his body felt lighter, so there they reached Changsu village in the evening. They were met by a boy and greeted politely. The boy asked them if they were staying the night and if they wanted to have dinner. They have alcohol too. Chan immediately agreed. The boy said there are small and large rooms or more comfortable rooms for special guests. He recommends a small room. In fact, there's not much difference between the rooms. Chan said he'd take her in dinner. What kind of alcohol do they have? The boy said the cheapest is white wine. Jong said the boy is very honest. The boy said that honesty is just one of his countless strengths. Jong tossed 3 coins to the boy and said that he hoped for him. The boy was surprised and thanked him for choosing them. Chan entered the restaurant and was surprised that it was so quiet. The girl came over and asked him if he was hungry, would he order something? The girl said that there are small and large rooms, and for special guests, she recommends taking the special room where it is quietest. Now Chan realized who the kid was learning hospitality from. He said he wanted a small room and the cheapest wine. The girl held out her hands and asked for a deposit. They brought Chan's food, and when he saw his table, he said it was not bad for a small village. The boy found him and told him that he had saddled the horse and given him some hay. He asked, has the master decided on a room? Chan said he had made up his mind. The boy smiled and wished him a good meal and a good rest. His mother said to him, why don't he take a little rest too? The boy said he had some other things to clean up. The girl put the white wine that Jong ordered on the table. The guy said she had a very good son. The girl said it's not her son. Jong said, really? The girl said, isn't she too young to be the mother of such a big boy? If he's so interested, it's her older sister's baby. She and her husband died, so there was no one to raise him. She's been taking care of him for a long time. Chan wondered how they died. The girl wanted to tell him, but then she said she couldn't tell a stranger. She said the room was in the far right corner on the 2nd floor. Chan asked if there was anyone here without a dark past. When he got to the room, Chan drank the wine and said that this cheap wine was the best he had ever tasted. The next day, the boy worked hard in the morning and brought the man food, saying that the noodles were ready. The man told the boy to bring another drink. Chan saw the men at the table and joined them to play. They thought he was some kind of fool. They started discussing that old one would eventually sell the land. The man said he had a hunch, but why did he wait so long? The man said he'd ask him when he said he'd pay him well for it. The man said he thought it was so easy. The grandfather ran the ranch for over 20 years. The gentleman didn't have much time left, looks like he got scared when he saw his neighbor's house on fire. When Mr. and Mrs. Ho died, he feared a similar fate. The man kicked his friend's leg and said that there was no point in this conversation for outsiders. Chan said maybe they should focus on the game. The men realized that this guy wasn't listening to them at all. They should have that level of concentration. But suddenly a guy came in and yelled to Jong-gun that he hadn't seen him in a while. How's his old buddy doing? Jong heard his voice and realized who it was. Yang said he recognized him from behind. Let them ignore him and keep playing. He's just passing through. Jong blushed when he saw him. Yang asked him, what's that gloomy face of his, has he been robbed again? Jong told him to shut up. Chong asked him why he had come. There aren't many places here that could be called worthwhile. Yang said that he kept walking here, thinking that he would go back to the west again. Yang planned to leave if he didn't see Jong in the last 2 days. Jong asked if there was a reward for him. Why did he keep following him? Yang said the thing is, he needs someone he can trust. Let Jong work with him from now on. Chan asked him, is he in trouble? Yang said he was serious, it's a pretty big deal, there are 3 others, not counting them. Chan was surprised and asked, what are the other 3? Yang said they were proven people, even he couldn't handle all 3 alone. Chan said there were only 4, including Yang. Why would he do that? Yang realized that Jong's martial arts were of unknown origin. That's why the patrol suspects he's from the secret royal army, since they can't reveal his identity. Yang said that Jong still didn't understand, they need a reliable martial artist. If they can't trust Jong-gun's skills, which masters can they trust? It's better to bring 1 experienced player than to find 3 more idiots. Jong said to tell him everything first. Jong was smart and said he'd tell him if Jong was in on it. Jong said he didn't care. Yang said that their target is a transport wagon full of gold and silver coins. He knows that sappers usually smash wagons. However, everything should work out if their calculations are correct and Jong is with them. To be precise, we need Sung Guan's personal wagon from the association. Zhang has heard of him, right? Zhang asked who he was. Yang said that Sung Guan was a member of one of the 5 Gamsan climbing associations. This is said to be the Sun family home in Gangnam-gu, but that's not the point. As the head of the association, Sung Guan has a huge fortune, and most of the ranches and mines he owns are on this side of the continent. Chan said the people who live on this land have suffered a lot, didn't he? Yang said it right. In fact, the man who runs the ranches and mines is So Weiran. He recently took over the pastures in the area to monopolize all the grasslands and rivers. A dozen people lost their homes to him and his gang. Some died in fires. Zhang realized that's what the villagers were saying. Young asked what the Murim alliance was doing in this situation. Yang said that the head of the Murim, he was the first to side with So Weirang. Didn't he mention that? Sung Guan, the head of the association, is supporting him. Zhang asked him if Yang wanted him to kill him. Yang asked him, is he scared? What's the problem if he's already broken the laws of the West more than once anyway? Zhang said the guy's so easy to talk about it. Yang said if they deprive Sung Guan of all his money, they'll have a chance. The merchant's struggle ends where the money runs out. Perhaps Sung Guan, maddened by the thought of attacking, will make a fatal mistake. Yang asked if Zhang understands. He says there's money and a case. Someone has to punish these people. Zhang said he didn't know that Yang was a man who was looking for excuses. Yang said, doesn't Zhang want to do something really worthwhile and make a lot of money from it? Besides, by messing with the evil merchant, he can earn a good reputation. Chong remembered that when they first met, he looked like a man who was only interested in drinking and scratching his tongue. I can't believe it, looking at him now. He seems more dangerous than a criminal. Ian said that the essence of the job is to make money and ruin the life of one unscrupulous person. Zhang said it's a good case, but there are some problems. Problems? Yang asked. Zhang said yes. For example, the problem is, can he trust him? If he asked where the information came from, he would hear silence. Yang told Chong to think to himself, who could be relied upon to do something like this? Not him, not his brother, not the 3 other people he's assembled can trust each other completely. He doesn't care what the excuse is, after all he wants is money. Chong realized that he really needed the money now. For the sake of the people of this land, he would like to make the pests disappear. But he'd have to trust this crook, and that's not a good prospect. Jan asked him what he would say. This is their opportunity to make a real fortune. Zhang smiled and said that there is no such thing as a lot of money. Yang said it right. Zhang will be sorry if he misses this. Let's do it together. Chan held out his hand and said that sounds like fun, he's in. And he's joining them. Jan thanked him, and so they set off. Jan said that the carriage would leave tomorrow. The other 3 had gone ahead and were waiting on the carriage route. They would spend the night here and start the plan tomorrow morning when everything was ready. Zhang told Yang to tell him about these people. Yang said they were the Gong brothers and the other Jiam Jun. The Gong brothers are known for their swordsmanship. Gong Pyong is the eldest and Gong Ran is the youngest. Jiam Jun seems to be good at archery, so they brought him along. He carries a gak gun made from the horn of a wild bull from the new continent. It's very scary when shot from afar. Zhang said if it's a gak gun, it must be a very expensive bow. That's why he's doing all this nonsense to keep it so don't just touch it or say he's going to shoot it. The brothers asked Jan who's next to him. Is that our last swordsman? Pyong said there are already too many of them. Yang told them to cut the crap. Gong Pyong, he's the one who's making the plan. Get lost if he has a problem with it. Pyong said Yang was crossing the line. Yang said it was his plan and his opinion doesn't matter to him. If they have a problem, just leave. Pyong grabbed Yang and said that making him wait in the hot sun was pissing him off. What did he just say? Yang took out a knife and put it to Pyong's neck and said that he knew it was hard for him to stay still and wait for 2 days in a row. However, they should not lose respect for each other. They're not bandits to rob sheep on the road, are they? Jan said it was his plan. The information for this plan was gathered by his informant, his contact and his abilities. And Pyong is just a pawn in his plan, so don't you dare think anything out of the ordinary. He has to do what he's told. Chong was surprised, he didn't know that Yang had such a side. It's not like the gambling cheat he knows. Yang calmed down and said, why don't Chan introduce himself? Chan thought maybe this side of his personality was his true self. Yang said that the carriage will pass through here tomorrow around noon. It's a big carriage with 4 horses. In addition, they are expecting 4 more riders to act as bodyguards from the side. The coachman and 2 other men will be in the carriage. There will be 7 men in total, including 4 bodyguards. Yang said that GM Jun would first kill the coachman with an arrow, and then they would immediately ambush them. Ian said if this guy keeps shooting arrows at them, no one will be able to get out of the wagon. Pyong asked if Yang was sure that there were no masters among the guards. Yang asked what's wrong. Is he worried about martial artists from the alliance? The 2 people riding in the carriage will probably try their best to control the carriage, so they can't do anything against us. In the end, the 4 horsemen are the only ones they'll have to deal with. Besides, their friend will help them with his BOW.SO. What's there to worry about? In short, they just need to eliminate the 4 riders, stop the wagon, and then deal with the remaining 2. They'll just eliminate one of them. Jan said that the one left behind should be his informant. Yang said right, as expected of him. Yang said his name is Kong San, and he has a huge gambling debt. He managed to get information from him in exchange for Yang sparing his life and sharing some of the money with him. He said he'll pay back the debt and go somewhere far away as soon as the job is done. He heard that the guy wants to get on a boat and go to Yongwon. That's their agreement, so keep that in mind, everyone. Archer asked what their plan is after they successfully complete the job. Pyong said he was also wondering how they would divide the money. Yen said that this is the most important thing. After they get rid of these 6 swordsmen, they will go south within a day. They will split the money on the spot, and each of them can go wherever they want. Because their informant will immediately go to Chunwon. The people who will pursue them won't know their faces or names. Sung Guan, the head of the Gamsan Alliance, will probably try to deal with the other leaders of the alliance. Therefore, their trackers won't be able to follow them for long. Pyong said it looks like this job will be a walk in the park. Brother said that's right. Let's take this opportunity to get rich. Chan understood that the job seemed simple in theory, but the fact was that they had no information about whether or not there were any master bodyguards, and the limited information about the informant made him uneasy. The next morning, the guys went to the case. Yang said the carriage is coming. Pyong said he sees everything exactly as Yang said. Jan said he was sure he didn't need to remind them that they were responsible for their own lives. Let them not expect someone to save them. Pyong said of course. Does Yang think they'd be here if they didn't know that? Brother told Young that he's not an exception. Jan said well, since it looks like everyone's ready, it's time to go downstairs. Dirg Yang said to stop. Yang asked him what happened. Zhong said there were people on the rocky mountain. Yang asked who the bastards were. Chan said he thinks they're after the carriage too. But there's quite a few of them, aren't there? The brothers asked Jan what's going on here. He thought Jan was the only one who knew. He didn't say there would be others. Ian told him to shut up, because he's embarrassed too. What the hell is going on in there? Zhong said they changed the direction of the carriage. Yang said if they go in that direction, GM Jun won't be able to handle the coachman with the arrows. Looks like his plans have gone to shit. Pyong asked, what should they do now? Are those guys still chasing the carriage? Yang said they can't afford to lose the carriage because of those bastards, they have to go. Now, no matter what the plan is, whoever takes the carriage first wins. Junchong should go with them too. Jan said we can't let him go. It's full of money. Yang started to chase the carriage, but the guys stopped first. Pyong told his brother to go on the road too. Ian realized that the plan had failed before they could even begin. And it was necessary to catch up with the carriage and take away. The first robbers saw that they had someone on their tail and handed them over to the boss. They asked them who they were. Yang said he wanted to ask them who they were. The guy said there's another group of bandits chasing them. The boss of the thieves said they are crazy, they know whose carriage they are attacking. Chan said, who doesn't know? Tell them to leave the carriage, Chong shouted to them. But they sent him away, they're not crazy. The carriage had almost reached the border, Chan realized that they were doing badly, and they had to do something soon, before they lost her. Yang said that things will not go on like this and ordered Jiam Zhuang to release his arrows into the battle. He would immediately give an arrow and fired. The guys started to panic, because they had to grab the carriage first. And so they were swimming in money. Chan realized that something was wrong. They should have realized by now that it was pointless to run with an archer behind them. Maybe they were up to something. The guy wouldn't stop shooting arrows. They noticed that 2 of their team had already been killed. They were yelling from the carriage to do something. At this rate, they'll all be killed. Ian said someone climbed up on the roof of the carriage, and he's holding arrows. But his height, it's just awful how big he is. Yang looked at him and recognized him and said it was Seo Sang-jun. Zhang asked if he knew him. Yang said he was the son of So Wei, the carriage owner. This guy is extremely dangerous, they say he learned martial arts from the Yong clan. He told Jiam Jun to destroy him first. But by this time, Seo had released his spear. Zhang told the guy to dodge it. Jiam saw that it was flying fast and put his bow up. The brothers were surprised and asked how the spear could fly so fast. Jiam was angry because his bow was broken and his hand was hurt. Chan saw that it had hit his shoulder. It looked like he wouldn't be able to use the bow anymore. Seo took off his other spear and told them to know their place. He's going to kill them all. Chan shouted for everyone to disperse, because this guy was going to throw his spears at them. The brothers heard it too, but they were all going alone. Seo fired his second spear and hit one of the robbers. A woman's voice could be heard saying that Mr. Gu was dead. Chan also heard that voice and realized that there was a woman among the bandits. He suspected that they were not ordinary bandits. One of the brothers told Ian, shouldn't they retreat? How can they handle this guy without our archer, better to let them go. Jan said they're cowardly pigs. If they run away, they'll be the first ones he'll kill on his list. He said the carriage is slowing down, their horses are exhausted, and they're already catching up to them. Seo took the next spear and said they didn't stand a chance. They'd all die before the carriage stopped. The archer drew his sword, and started hitting this guy on the carriage. Seo saw this, and said he dared to challenge him with a sword instead of a bow. Seo said it well, but this time he'll make sure to end his life. Ian realized that with a shoulder wound like that, he wouldn't stand a chance. This was not part of his development plan. Zhang saw this and flew over to the archer, and from him he charged at Seo, knocking his spear away, and in return he attacked him with his spear, which only scratched him. The brothers were surprised to see that Zhang had done things they had never dreamed of. Where did Yang find such a master? They had no idea where Zhang had come from. The first gang of attackers shouted for his men to capture the man on the carriage, but when he turned around, he saw his men being killed by Chong. Seo was surprised and frightened when he saw this, because Zhang had killed with his bare hands those bandits who had attacked first. He doesn't know what kind of martial arts Zhang possesses, but his gaze has tremendous energy. Seo took the spear in both hands and aimed at Chan, saying that he was different from the other attackers. Then let him try to stand at that distance. Zhang saw that Seo was about to throw and dodged his attack. Grabbing the spear, he threw it back at Seo. Chong knew that his ki had increased due to the elixir pill he had consumed earlier. It was now possible to use the absorbing stance that was inspired by the Valley tribe's techniques. Zhang picked up the spear and looked at Seo and said it was his turn. Seo thought he could use it to stop the carriage, but it was too late, the carriage was out of control and overturned. Yang told Chan that he had done a good job, and he had never seen anyone like him. Paiyang was surprised and told the guy that he caught the spear flying at him with his bare hands. He had never seen anything like that in his life. Yang tried to accept that Chong had destroyed the moving carriage with a single throw of his spear. How skillful is this guy? Ian said it's time for them to see what's inside. They need to take what's inside and run, and they're on their way. But suddenly 100 people came and told them to stop and take their hands off the carriage. One of the people said that Seo had appropriated the gold and silver in that wagon from the people of the land. They belong to the people of Cheongsu Township. Do they really think that her people will allow thugs like them to take money from people? Paiyang said she's mocking them, aren't they bandits themselves? We stopped the carriage, whoever they think they are, they have a death wish. Chan understood, to be precise, he did all the work himself. But they don't seem like ordinary thugs to him. The girl took off her mask and said her name is Jin Su. She is the daughter of an exploited ranch owner and the sister of a miner who is vomiting blood. They disguise themselves as bandits to get back what's theirs. And at the same time show them their anger. They'll have to kill them all if they plan to take the gold that's in the carriage. Paiyang didn't know what was going on. Turns out they were residents of the neighborhood, not bandits. No wonder they held their swords so awkwardly, but still, after all they had gone through to take the carriage. Chan saw that they took off their masks and showed their faces even though they knew they could be arrested. They clearly show their determination. Pyong asked Yang if he thought they should retreat. Unless he plans to kill all these people. Ian asked him if he was just going to give up. After all they've been through. These people are bluffing, he's sure they'll change their minds when they start killing some of them. Chan took off his mask and said they should check the contents of the carriage first. They still don't know how much money is in it. On top of that, they said that all the ranches and mines in the area belong to Sun Guan, which means that not all the gold in the carriage belongs to them. They will just take a moderate amount as X share, so let's take a look inside the carriage first. Paiyang supported him and suggested that he too, see what's inside the carriage first. The girl said they would do as the guys said. The girl realized if they were honest, they had no way of stopping this man. But at that moment something exploded and they were all scared. Asking what was it and where did it happen. Zhong said it was Seo Sang, the man who just set off the firecrackers. But at that moment, he looked at the robbers and fell down. Pyong said what the hell happened. He was worried for nothing, Seo just made a loud noise, but nothing happened. Archer asked him how stupid he could be, this is the signal to request reinforcements. Soon they will be surrounded by their reinforcements. Paiyang asked Yang Gong what was going on since he didn't talk about reinforcements. Yang told him to shut up and look for the safe if they had time to complain. Chan watched it all and said one thing after another, the only person who might know how to get out of this place. Pyong told Yang that there's someone unconscious in there. He said that this person is his informant, like Sang Ju, so they should take him with them at the end. Here's Jan shouting that he's found the trunk. But suddenly he noticed something, and thought it broke when the carriage fell off. When he opened the box he was very surprised and saddened, he could not believe his eyes. The box was empty. Pyong asked what he meant by the safe being empty. Yang got angry and said how could he know that. Pyong grabbed him and said, does this make any sense? Don't let him say he's been fooling them all this time. All his data turned out to be lies. Yang told him that he was warning him to let him go. He got all the information from that informant, Kong San. The girl was surprised and said that the guy said the safe was safe. This has never happened before. Chan said there was only one thing that made this carriage different from a normal transportation carriage. This carriage has been a trap from the beginning. It looks like they have a history of raiding so ways carriages. And this man doesn't seem to be the type to just sit back and watch his property being robbed. He must have set this trap to avoid you all at once. The old man looked at him and asked, is it true? Zhong said of course, this is just his speculation based on what happened today. Besides, he couldn't think of any other reason than that. Pyong said Yang is a thief and a cheat. Yang said it can't be true, they don't have any proof yet. Chong realized that it was unlikely that Yang was behind this scheme. He had suspected him at first, but he should have already gone into hiding if he was the one who planned the whole thing. Pyong asked Yang what his plan was. The safe is empty, and their reinforcements will be here soon. At this rate, they'll all die. Yang told him to shut up, he's keeping him from thinking. Chan chastised himself, what was he thinking, coming all the way here, trusting that idiot. He suggested we waste no more time and get out of here. They should bring that informant and find out what happened there. The archer asked them where to go. They have nowhere to hide in the middle of the desert. Chan said that this woman should tell them. Chan is sure that after successfully robbing the carriage, she must have prepared a place to hide. It seems they have no choice but to cooperate with them. The girl said that this place is one of their hideouts. How can they trust them and expose them? The girl said right, there's a campground nearby, which is one of their hideouts. Maybe they didn't see it up close. But this man who was called Son of Seo had incredible abilities. He couldn't even be compared to their usual bodyguards. If it wasn't for this man, they would have all been killed here today. In fact, Zhang realized that he did it for the money. The girl told them to follow her and not to forget to take the informant. Chan realized that it looked like he was in for a very tricky business. Backup found their men dead by the carriage, and brought Seo to the chief. He asked if the job was so difficult that his son had to die. Wasn't the job of taking down a gang of bandits pretty easy? Let the warrior O answer him. O said he had no excuses. The head told him to repeat what he just said. The head asked again, what happened in the desert? The wounded man said that another group of bandits they had never seen before had appeared out of nowhere. He said that the head's son fought bravely, but he was silent. The chief asked what he wanted to say to him. Don't stop. The head grabbed his head and said it was only because there were more beggars than they expected. On top of that, they couldn't even track down the escaped bandits. And yet he has the nerve to shamelessly come back alive. The boy was covered in sweat and tears, from the pain of his head being squeezed so tightly. He begged his master to spare him. O said he regrets to inform him that the information regarding transportation must have leaked from within. His son had a bodyguard in the carriage with him. His name is Kong San. Judging from the fact that they couldn't find his body, it seems that he sold the transportation information and hired a very skilled craftsman to do the job. The head said that O says that the plan designed to exterminate the rats that steal from his farms failed because of the rat inside. Unbelievable. The head said that later they will be punished for failing to control their subordinates. But first, let O find them at any cost and bring them to him. Whether he kills all the villagers or shoves all the miners into a mine and burns them alive, he'd better bring the bastards who killed his son to him. If they fail again, he'll rip their hearts out with his own hands. The head told his son's dead body to wait. He will make sure that every bastard responsible for his death will be forced to accompany him to the underworld. Yang said Kong Sae is a piece of shit. He asked what's wrong with Yang Gun. He has to keep his end of the bargain. Jan got angry and said he had no right to bargain with him. He knew from the beginning that Seo would be riding in the carriage. Kong also knew that their reinforcements would be following them, and from the beginning, he hid that the safe would be empty. Did Kong really think he could escape after putting them all in danger? Yang asked. Kong told him to calm down. What do you mean, the safe was empty? What is Yang talking about? Yang said he couldn't fool him twice. There's no way he didn't know that. Yang asked Kong where his money was. Zhang watched and said it was going to be a long night. Chan asked the archer how his wound was. The archer looked at his wound and said he was fine, it was just a scratch. Chan said he doesn't think it's just a scratch. Let the archer let him see it. The archer said he was really fine. Chan looked up and was surprised. The archer asked him what happened. Chan said that the archer was lucky that the blood stopped immediately, despite the size of the wound, and his ligaments seemed to be fine. The archer asked him if he had studied medicine. Zhang said something like that and asked him to raise his hand. Chan bandaged his arm and said it should help for the moment, as long as he keeps applying ointments to the wound, it will. The girl came over and told Yang that he had just said Kong San's name, right? Yang was surprised and stopped. The girl said she couldn't recognize it at first, but now she's sure. He was there when Mr. and Mrs. Ho were killed a few months ago, right? The day they were burned alive by So Wei's subordinates. Kong was one of them, right? Kong said he didn't want to do it, but it was So Wei's order. He had no choice in the matter. Kong said that they should have just handed over the land when they asked them nicely. The girl heard those words and flew at him with her foot. The girl said that Mr. and Mrs. Ho were their hope. When they took their ranch and left them to die in the desert, they gave them food and water and took them in as if they were part of their family. And these people burned these good-hearted people just because they interfered with their plan. Khan will pay for his sins. Pyong said all these people can do is disguise themselves as a chaos sect. Is pitching tents in the desert and robbing carriages like bandits the best they can do? The girl who heard about the chaos cult turned around and said the guy just called them the chaos cult. Pyong no, he means he wouldn't want to live like them, guys, that's what he's trying to tell them, don't be mad. The girl said, just now, he called them a chaos sect. What's the difference between the Murima Union and the chaos sect? What the guy is saying is that it is right for people with money and power to abuse their power over years and societies in the name of justice. If they are the law, as they claim, does that mean they should be exploited? Why does he think their grandfathers, fathers and mothers risked their lives to come all the way to a new continent? It's because they couldn't bear to be helpless. Because they no longer wanted to be exploited. Pyong said he regretted what he said earlier. They spoke rashly. The girl told him to forget, but that doesn't change the fact that they were just robbing people. And they just wanted to get back what was taken from them. Yang told them to stop, because they can't afford to waste time. The news must have reached Seo, so his trackers are probably on their way. On top of that, the news of his son's death is sure to enrage him. This place is also unsafe, so from now on, they are separated. Zhong went up to the girl and said he wanted to ask her something. He happened to go to a tavern in Zhongsecheng, and there was a kid working there. When he asked, the tavern owner said she was not the child's mother. She said she was just looking after him because his parents were dead. The girl said he was right. This child is the son of Mr. and Mrs. Ho. He was a smart and clever child, as determined as his late parents. The girl said Zhong wants to ask why they don't raise him themselves. The guy said it's not like that. The girl said it's because they can't bring themselves to teach the child of their saviors to steal. If the child gets hurt because of them. Chan said he understood and had heard enough, and now he had to go. The girl yelled for him to stop. The girl said that no matter what, they were able to survive the trap thanks to them. At least take it as a token of their appreciation. They didn't steal the money, she saved it herself. Although there's obviously a story behind the money, the guy took it and said they had no right to be picky right now. He would accept her gift. Yang said it would be better if they split up in different directions. Pyong said that Yang was lucky that this girl was able to give them even a small amount of money. Yang told him to back off, because he hadn't done anything at all from the beginning. Yang asked Chan where he was going. Zhong asked him why he cared. The next time they meet, he better not mention the job or he'll really kill him. Ian said he'd do it eventually anyway. He said the same thing last time, but he ended up doing it again. Yang told him not to worry. He'll make him an offer he can't refuse the next time they meet. Zhong said how shameless of him. He slapped the horse's reins and rode off in the other direction. Yang asked the archer what he thought after seeing Chan with his own eyes. Agent number 3. The agent said that he is definitely an interesting person, even though he has nothing to do with the Imperial Army. The way he turned Seo's spear back into him, and the way he acts like a master despite his young age. At first, he thought he was a descendant of the demon clan. Ian asked, Agent 3 wanted to say that he wasn't. The agent said that he couldn't find any traces of demonic arts on him. Although the demonic arts of the demon clan are known to have the least amount of side effects compared to other demonic arts. It won't be enough to fool his eyes. The agent said they could get an opportunity here on the new continent. Ian asked, what kind of opportunity? It's been 100 years since the opening of the sea route to the new continent. That's enough time for an ancient family of martial arts masters to descend from the mountain and stealthily settle down. In fact, the head of the Murima Union was able to increase his power using the same method. But of course, he was already incredibly powerful from the beginning. Ian said that he's just a master rookie who has moderate ability and potential. The agent said he couldn't say for sure right now. Perhaps he could be a practitioner of a demonic art they didn't know about. Ian thought that the musculoskeletal work that alters the position of muscles and bones to change the user's appearance, even though he had seen it countless times, he still found it fascinating. He asked the agent what their next plan was. One level of weird martial arts is enough to put him on the list, said the girl's Secret Service agent number 3. Let them keep an eye on him for now. Yang had originally planned to increase his funds with the money from the carriage. Let her ask the headquarters to pass it on to him. Yen saw and shone like a star. The agent said that Yang should keep an eye on Zhonggan and report even the smallest details about him to her. Yang said that he would do everything in his power to catch them. Chan realized that if news of the carriage had already reached them, their trackers should be on the scene. The road to the village should be safe, at least until tonight. They would never think that a group of bandits would be hiding near the village. Let them rest in the tavern tonight and then set off early tomorrow morning, since it's always the last place he looks. But why is there a light on in the middle of the night? Chan thought. Chan told the horse to run at full speed to the tavern. And at that moment, the tavern was on fire and someone asked him to let go. They were the head's men, who ordered them to search and find the men who killed his son. The girl begged them to let her go, and shouted to her boy Horan. People asked them why they deserved it. Oh said they should be silent, for they had brought it on themselves. Oh said, did they really think they wouldn't find out? They and this robbery gang are on the same side. This is their punishment for hiding them until now. People got angry and asked what kind of nonsense he was talking about. The girl said that even if they steal from their vaults, they don't burn people alive like you bastards. The girl was crying and saying he was just a little kid. Are they even human? Oh said stop his nonsense. They lost a man too, and what's worse, the man who died was the son of their lord. In fact, she should be grateful to them. He's not even her kid, right? She's probably tired of taking care of him. The girl spat at him and said how dare he say that. Oh picked up the torch and said it would be their last chance. Oh said they have a chance to end this in exchange for the child's life. Tell them everything they know about these rats. Otherwise they'll burn down the whole village. The guy was telling the warrior that some guy on a horse was heading towards them, and running pretty fast. Zhong saw the girl, but he didn't see the baby. He thought the baby was inside the house, burning alive. People tried to stop him, but Chan jumped off his horse right into the house to save the baby. The guy outside was asking what that was all about. I mean, someone went inside the building and even flew into it. Warrior O was also surprised and didn't understand what this was all about. Who was he, and why did he go into the fire? Chan opened the door and saw the child lying on the floor, unconscious. Chan saw that the building was about to collapse, and in a moment, everything started to collapse on the child. When Chan saw this, he jumped to save the child from the flames. According to the data he had checked, he should have been able to get him out in time. Oh asked the people who the hell just barged in. Did they hire a foreign warrior? The old man said they knew nothing. Where would they get the money to hire a warrior? He asked them what they were up to and called them insects. Suddenly, a shadow appeared out of the flames, and Chan jumped from the top floor, right in the middle of the road, with a baby in his arms. The girl got off that old man when she saw Horan's boy, and ran to meet him to examine him. The girl asked if he was okay, but when she picked him up, she said he wasn't breathing. Chan told her to wait a bit. Chan dipped his 3 fingers into his chest and held them vertically. At that moment, Ho coughed and opened his eyes. The girl hugged him and said she told him she wasn't his aunt. She asked him to call her sister. When people saw the boy, they were very happy and said that HR got out of there alive and unharmed. Oh shouted for everyone to shut up. He pointed his finger at Chong and asked him who he was and why he was meddling in his own business. He asked him to tell his name immediately. The guy got to his feet and said his name was Zhonggun. The bodyguard immediately recognized him and said that he was the one they had seen a few days ago at the tavern. He remembers him distinctly because he's really bad at gambling needles. This guy's a roving assassin. Oh said it looks like they have a foreigner who got lost. So, Zhonggun, that's his name. Oh asked if he realized what he'd just done. He had just helped a group of bandits who were robbing ranches and stealing their vaults. Chan asked if they were trying to burn this kid alive to kill him and make an example of him to terrorize the people. Oh said, doesn't Chan think they're showing mercy since they're willing to end it in exchange for an orphan's life? In fact, they should be grateful that we're willing to let it slide, using it as an example. Chan said the guy's talking so proudly when all he did was try to burn someone alive. How can the Murima Union sit idly by when the arsonist is clearly burning the city to the ground? Isn't there a representative of the Murima Union in this town? Oh smiled when he heard about the Murim alliance and said that Zhang was still unable to realize the situation. Where the drums are beating, the laws are silent. The Murima Union he's talking about doesn't exist in this town. The only law in this country is the one they impose. They said they'll take Zhang into custody for interrogation. Let him surrender his weapon and obey the order. Or does he prefer to listen after they put a hole in his body? Zhang took out his sword and told them to test it. Oh saw that the atmosphere had changed. Is he really that confident in his skills to challenge them? But in the end, he's only one. Oh shouted to his subordinates to attack him. They can kill him if he resists. They didn't realize who they were messing with. Chan pulled out his sword, and with one sword stroke, chopped them both in half. He got scared and asked what the hell was that? How did he do that? Is he a master? No, we have to pull ourselves together. Oh attacked him from behind, but Zhang saw it and deflected it with his sword. And without talking to them, he cut them down. He stood there staring and he couldn't move his hands. He didn't know what it meant. The guy killed 5 of them in the blink of an eye. The most cowardly stood back and watched as Zhang killed everyone. He decided to attack but the guy cut him down. Chan tried to pull out his sword, but it got stuck in the guy's ribs. Oh saw this and attacked and said that now was his chance. Chan saw him, but he didn't have time to draw his sword, and it was very close. When he cut the naked man, he thought it was the stranger. But after taking a good look, he realized it was his man. At this time, Zhang managed to dodge his attack and while he was distracted, Zhang decided to attack with his fist. Oh felt so strong that even the sword fell from his hands, and so did he. He kneeled down and said that he couldn't believe that Zhang was just a stranger. Oh asked him where he learned that. Zhang told the remaining warrior, Co Wei is his boss, right? Chan told him to go and tell him about it. He's the one who killed his subordinates. And he's coming after him next, so he better be ready. Chan asked him if he understood. The guy with a shaky voice said yes. Zhang told him to leave the village immediately. Chan asked them what they were all waiting for. Don't they plan to turn their village into ashes? The boy asked Chan, is he a knight by any chance? Zhang surprisingly asked who. The boy said that a knight is someone who punishes evil and helps the poor. Chan asked him why he thought he was a knight. The boy said because he defeated those bad guys and saved him. He even helped put out the fire all night. Also, he didn't even ask for money for saving him. Zhang said he's not what he seems. The boy said he doesn't think so, he definitely thinks he's a knight. Zhang told him to cut the crap. Does he know anyone who knows where So Wei's base is? Zhang asked if he was really serious about going there. Zhang said he and they were past the point of no return. The boy asked if he was going to defeat more bad guys. Then let him take him with him. His sister told him not to even think about it. She said she asked him to call her sister, didn't she? Don't let him try anything stupid and wait in the village. Janine said he'd be Mr. Warrior's guide. So off they went to Sio's lair. Janine asked him, is he really going to be alright? She means it's Sio. He still has over 20 warriors and rumor has it that he himself is also a martial artist. Zhang said if he didn't fight him now, then Sio Wets would probably put a bounty on him. He would rather fight him now while he still had few opponents. Janine said that he was really serious about fighting him alone, without any reinforcements. She must have mistaken him for a secret agent of the Imperial Army. Chan said he was already mistaken for a man from the Imperial Army. Why did they think he was with them? Janine said it's because he's a young master traveling alone. On top of that, he's working with Yang Guang. Chan asked what she meant. What does he have to do with the Imperial Army? Janine said, didn't he know that Ian worked at the royal palace when he was in town? He's pretty famous for it in the desert. Zhang said that he had no idea what kind of work this rogue thief was doing for the royal palace. Janine said that she wasn't sure but after Jan started working for the royal palace, it definitely seemed like he had made some kind of connection with them. Chong now realized that it was no wonder that he had sensed something strange about him. Now that he thought about it, the information he had given them was not ordinary. Now he realizes, the pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together, now that he knows he's a spy from the royal palace. Chan asked her how she knew all this. Janine said she'd heard a lot of interesting things while running the tavern. And now they've arrived at Sio's. Janine said that from now on, this is So Wei's territory. All those ranches over there belong to him and Sung Quan. He practically took over all those people's ranches by force. Chan thanked her for bringing him here. Now she can go back. If she's a witness, it won't be pretty from now on. Janine shouted to Zhonggan. She thanked him for saving them and Horan. And for what he was going to do. Chan told her to give him a sweet at a low price the next time he comes to see them. When he entered the gates of the house, he was already greeted by the head of Sio himself, and his little dogs, who serve him. Sio said he got a report from his subordinate. But he never thought the guy would actually come here alone. Sio said that he was curious about who killed his son and his subordinates. Now that he sees him up close, he can clearly see that he is no ordinary traveler. Sio threw two bodies in front of him and said they must know each other. He caught them driving by last night. Thanks to them, he found out why they ambushed his carriage. He also found out that Yang had bribed one of his subordinates. Zhong knew these guys, their names were Pyong and Ran. They were unlucky enough to get caught driving by yesterday. Sio stepped on the dead guy's head and said that they're basically parasites. But what he still doesn't realize is that it's none other than him, Zhonggun. He doesn't understand what a master like him is doing in a place like this. Is he really a special agent of the Imperial Army or an investigator from the Murima Union? Chan said, what difference does it make whether he's from the Imperial Army or the Murima Union? After all, it doesn't change the fact that they have to kill each other. Sio said the guy's absolutely right. There's no point in finding out who he is now. And he's starting to like Zhong. They could have been friends if they had met under different circumstances. Sio ordered his subordinates to kill Yung. The subordinates surrounded him and began to attack him as soon as they heard the order, but Chan was able to deal with them at once. Without any effort, he broke them. Some of the subordinates were surprised that Zhong was fighting the warriors with his bare fists. He's a monster, they should get out of here as soon as possible. Sio met him and asked him where he was going. The guy said he was sorry, but they were no match for him. Sio looked at him and said it's okay, he understands. Putting his hand in his chest, he said he understands that in order to deal with such a master, he'll need his help, and ripped out the guy's heart. Chan cut through all of his subordinates, and realized that these guys were no different from the ones that attacked the village. They were just a bunch of disorderly mobs. He wondered if this So Wei was different. Looking at him, he saw him pull out the guy's heart. Yung asked what he was doing there. Meanwhile, Sio was eating a guy's heart alive. He looked like he was enjoying it. He said, this is the feeling of his blood running wild inside him. He really hasn't felt this way in a long time. The subordinates were frightened away from their master, and began to flee from Sio's territory. Zhong stood there surprised and told them to stay. Sio grabbed them and ripped out their hearts, taking them in both hands. He turned around and started eating them again. Chan couldn't believe it and wondered if he should do an exorcism ritual or something. Sio felt the blood rushing through his veins, and squeezing his hand, he saw that his strength had increased a lot. Chan asked, how was it possible that everyone he had met so far was able to get their hands on demonic arts? Sio apologized for making Yung wait. And now he says he's ready to start their fight. Sio was incredibly strong, the flames covered his arm with fire, and with that, he attacked Chan. Sio laughed and said that it looked like his skill was too strong even for someone like Zhong. He said it was his blood and fire art. Honestly, he didn't expect the day to come when he'd have to use it. Sio said if the Murima Union and the Imperial Army found out about his demonic arts, it would be very unpleasant. Did Zhong agree with him? That's why he didn't teach it to Sangjun. After all, everything else is useless now. When he looks at the corpse of his son that Zhong killed. One way or another, he needs to stay alive to get revenge. Chong noticed the amount of heat he could produce with his bare hands. He never expected to encounter something he hadn't even seen in Zhongyuan. Sio said he'll kill those beggars in Zhongsicheng with those thugs. After he kills Zhong and avenges his son, Chog distracted him with his question, and with a sudden burst of attack, managed to damage him with his sword. Chan asked him what happens after he kills everyone. The Murima Union will send trackers to hunt him down if he commits such a crime. Seo started laughing and said that he would then kill those trackers and go to the palace himself. This art was given to him by the Imperial Palace in the first place. Don't you think the Imperial Palace will recognize him for his ability? Chan asked him what the hell he was talking about. Chan was surprised to see his wound healed so quickly. He really is a monster. Seo began to laugh as he healed his wound and said that he had a very incredible strength that was hard to match. With that kind of strength, he could even be promoted to general. Of course, he would never bow down to someone like Sun Quan. Seo said he was grateful to Zhong Gun. He made him a general. And now he's a general. Zhong Gun said he's crazy and attacked him instead. Zhong felt that Seo had become much stronger. Seo asked him what's going on with the guy. And how long will he defend himself? Chan felt something and said that it wasn't good. The flames around his hands are dangerous. However, using his bare hands allows him to maintain fast and continuous attacks. And Zhong is sure it's because he ate a heart that was still beating, but his stamina, it seems limitless. The most troublesome of all, Seo smiled, and attacked Chan with his eyes. Zhong managed to react and take the blow with his swords. Chan realized that it was his regeneration ability. Damn it, his blade won't last long. He must end it as soon as possible. He thought, how should he deal with it? What attack should he use to kill it without giving it a chance to regenerate? Chan realized that he didn't have that skill among his own. Then he recalled a memory, at this very moment. Even if it's only a theory, it should be more than enough. Zhong put his sword in and stood up and said he was going to try it. Seo asked, what is this, is he giving up already? Seo said he'd turn him to ashes like he deserves. Zhong said he needs to channel his inner energy and push it out of his joints like he's threading a needle. Chan told himself to concentrate. He needed to gather all the energy from every corner of his body, and channel his internal energy from head to toe and channel it through his joints. Then focus that spinning energy, on the tips of his hands, and release it all, right into him. Seo was much stronger, and could withstand anything. He asked Chan, was that all he could do? Did he confront his body, imbued with the art of blood and fire with this? But suddenly he began to feel something as his energy began to transform. And Seo couldn't take it and was defeated. Chong lit a cigarette and said that all this time he thought that the secret of fire technique lies in the art of unquenchable fire. It turned out that it is quite achievable, if you just direct a huge amount of energy in the right direction. But of course, if he does it ignorantly like Seo, he'll end up burning his energy flow. Only ignorant people like him, who devour a beating heart, would do something like that. But he was able to learn something new, thanks to him, Zhong said. Seo asked, what kind of technique was that? Zhong said that while he calls it winding. Seo said that the force, which is like threading a needle, sounds right. Who taught him that technique? Chong said that he thought the winding came from Tai Chi, then it must be Zhang Sanfeng. Zhong said that he was a legend among the ancestors, although he eventually became a deity in the last years of his life. Seo told him he didn't have to tell him if he didn't want to. Seo said that he had better run as far away as possible. The palace would chase after him when they found out that Seo had lost to him even after using demonic arts. The palace, now that he thinks about it, Seo keeps mentioning it. He can't be referring to the emperor's palace, right? Seo said no, the palace he's talking about is the palace where the real emperor lives. Not the Yu clan who forcefully seized the throne, but the true emperor, the only true ruler and the one who controls demons. Those who were kicked out of the palace, tortured and killed for thousands of years. They gather under his command and continue their power. This is the palace he speaks of. Although he is just a subordinate to them, he is literally nothing compared to the true masters of the palace. If they hunt him down, even he won't be able to escape death. Zhong said that the palace Seo is talking about is the one responsible for spreading the demonic arts to the new continent. Seo said that he was used after all. He told his dear wife that he would soon join Sang-jun, a secret organization that dreams of rebellion. Zhong really doesn't want to be involved. But suddenly someone told Chan that he was a much stronger master than he expected. Young asked Gong Pyong, is he alive? Pyong said it's all thanks to him for defeating So Wei. When he looked at his brother, he saw he was dead. Chong said he should have come earlier. Feng said no, Rang has been unconscious since they were tortured last night, that he's just grateful for the opportunity to avenge his death. Zhang told him to come to Jiangxiqian. If he tells them his name, they'll help him give him a funeral. Also, find Yang and ask him to clean up this mess. From what he's heard, it looks like that bastard has some connections to the Imperial Palace. Whether it's the Murima Union or the Imperial Palace, they'll clean this place up as soon as they find out what happened here. Pyong asked Chan what about him. Zhang took the horse and said he would go as usual. Pyong told him to wait and not to go. He would be rewarded if he reported the villains. Zhang told him to share this with the people of Zhongsicheng. Also tell Jin Su and her gang that they can stop acting like thugs now that Xiao Wei is gone. Pyong asked him, is he really going to just walk away? He is a real hero who single-handedly defeated Xiao and his subordinates. The Murima Union will even give him a medal for it, and it's only a matter of time before he becomes famous on the new continent. Chan turned around and said he wasn't interested. And he's sorry for his loss, and I'll see you soon. Gamsan Palace was home to the Imperial Secret Intelligence Organization Secret Service Agent No. 3. She was looking at the piece of cloth on her hands, when suddenly a colonel of the Imperial Army Ferocious Tiger walked in. And held the head in his hands. Saying that the work was done. No. 3 said it was a good job, so what's the result? Ferocious Tiger said it's just as he suspected, the Ma clan was behind Song. It looks like it's either Nam Gun or Mo Yun. No. 3 asked if he used demonic arts. Tiger asked if she meant Sung Guan. No, it's just one of the bodyguards who guarded Sung Guan. It looks like the Ma clan placed them here. Of course, it wasn't just that. He destroyed all of Song Guan's men. The girl thought that Song Guan must have had at least 30 people guarding him. Did he really kill them all without getting a scratch? She didn't expect anything less from a colonel of the Imperial Army. He asked what happened and what happened to Song Guan. The subordinates said that Song would be taken into custody for interrogation. 12 and 17 detained him while they talked that he immediately surrendered after seeing his men being killed. And Song was an incompetent man from the beginning. That's why he left his noble family and became a merchant in the new continent. No. 3 said that they must have been privy to all this information and lured Yi Song. Tigress said that he couldn't believe that after living a good life under His Majesty's favor, he was still deceived by this loser. Tigress said, who would have thought that the descendant of the biggest noble family would make such a decision? Did he really think he could get away without being caught? The girl asked, who knew? Maybe Song was just used by them too. As she can see, Gamsan is not a small town. The competition for the position of union leader is also very fierce. Even though he claims he made this decision to protect his position, he still made a stupid choice. Tiger said he heard that she met an interesting martial artist on the way here. I think his name was Zhong Gong. No. 4 said they meant that guy. Apart from being experienced for his age, there was nothing special about him. Tiger asked, really? Isn't it strange? Why would they appoint a secret agent and allocate special funds for a martial arts master who is nothing special? Isn't it strange why they would appoint a secret agent and allocate special resources for a martial artist who's nothing special? Tiger told Agent No. 3 not to say that she was hiding masters who could pose a potential threat to the Imperial Palace. No. 3 said there seems to be a huge misunderstanding. Imperial Palace? No, she means His Imperial Majesty the Emperor provided them with an Imperial Secret Intelligence Organization so they could operate independently of the Imperial Army. We are only expected to cooperate under special circumstances, like today. Even a high-ranking Imperial officer like Colonel Fierce Tiger has no right to interfere in the affairs of their organization on the new continent. However, she doesn't remember mentioning Zhong Gun's name. That means he investigated the matter using his own staff without our knowledge. No. 3 asked him if he minded if she brought it up. Is the colonel a ferocious tiger? Tiger said it's admirable how proud she is of her work as Agent 3. However, let her mean that their sense of pride will remain intact only as long as she enjoys His Majesty's favor. Tiger said he'd go and leave the rest to her. Make sure she removes all evidence of the Imperial Army's involvement.